Whoa!
The hell was that?
No.
Welcome back to Power Trip Gaming! Powercast!
No, let's talk about this. Okay, no. What was that?
That's all I got. That's all I got today, boys. It's cold, it's snowy, that's all I'm bringing to the table. Wow! You got something better?
Yeah, could have started with, like, he wouldn't shoot.
He wouldn't shoot! Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Damn it.
Could have made a joke about what's with all these white rarity items.
Oh my god, so many commons.
See?
You straight up white bread. It's just common items everywhere. Oh, so many greens. That means nothing to Paul.
I know.
He wouldn't shoot!
He wouldn't shoot. He wouldn't shoot and he wouldn't loot. Oh man. Well then, welcome back to the Power Trip Gaming Powercast.
Yes, welcome back to the Power Trip Gaming Powercast, where you're listening with power.
That's right. You are listening with power.
That is exactly why I said it. You didn't need to repeat it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Scooby-Doo gang. Let's go.
Well, first of all, imitation is the highest form of flattery, you fuck. So imitating you means I respect you.
Why are you closing your eyes while you're saying it? It looks so
Because
like
I'm
you're
being
saying it.
pretentious.
I was gonna say you're saying it, but in such a derogatory way.
What the fuck?
It's just funny when like you try to like you try to give somebody a compliment and it just comes off as like it's a worse worse than an insult.
I like your shoes.
Boy, you're looking real good today, aren't you?
You don't quite look as fat as you usually do. You lost weight.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's just the way you were saying.
Oh yeah, you're just never mind. No,
I'm going home.
No, it's Power Trip Gaming Powercast. We what's going on with you guys? A little bit of ketchup.
A little bit of ketchup.
A little bit of ketchup, a little bit of mustard.
Some mayo on there.
Well, I've been busy not playing shooter looter games.
You
actually.
have not.
Yeah, no, playing catching up to Pokemon Sword. Actually.
Good. I'm very happy.
I know.
You haven't
I
played.
figured you would be very proud of me because I am finally playing a Pokemon game.
I'm happy you're playing anything.
What are you talking about?
You never play games.
What are you talking about? Of course I have. Literally, like a month ago, I was playing through and beating Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You
I'm gonna
fuckhead.
say,
forgot.
well, and to be honest, when he plays games, he tends to just play like the NES or stuff like that. He doesn't keep up on very many modern games.
No, it's definitely a lot more retro gaming because
So-
I just recently, like a month or two ago, I played through Silent Hill 2. I played Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2.
Oh, that's right. We saw you going through Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 1, yeah. It came
yeah.
a lot harder than I remember it being.
When we watched the worst movie ever.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. Thanksgiving 3.
Thanksgiving 3.
It was terrible.
Even worse than Thanksgiving 2.
Kevin.
So yes, that's what's up with me. Kevin, let's hear how interesting your life is.
How's it going, buddy?
I spent my week getting all 26 endings to Nier Automata.
Automata. Nier Automata.
There's 26 endings.
Yeah.
And it's not quite as elaborate as it sounds.
No, it's so there are like 5 that are like the main story, and then the other 21 are. Well, like, okay, the best example is the beginning of the second playthrough. You play as this character called 9S.
Okay.
Well, you're supposed to go off on this path to the right. Well, if you go to the left, hit a switch, it lowers a crane. If you walk down the crane, that's an ending.
Yeah,
He
it's
just
like
leaves.
stupid shit
He
like
just-
that.
He just fucks off, and
gotcha.
like it's like he doesn't want to fight. He wanted to go learn about stuff, so he just left, and that's the ending.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of
Yeah, and I thought it was bad that like you remember the game Heavy Rain?
Yeah.
That game had like 14 different endings.
Yeah.
And I do remember playing through every single one of them because I wanted to get the platinum trophy for it.
It's a really good game, actually, Nier. And
Yeah.
Heavy Rain.
And yeah.
I liked them both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started playing it when I was watching your dog, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, he won't notice if it's gone. I took it home for the week. I literally just brought it back this morning.
And guess what? Never noticed. I have so many fucking games over here. Not a clue. Didn't even think twice about it.
I was originally just gonna sneak it back up onto the shelf and not say anything,
That's
but he was
funny.
sitting in the living room already, so I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last time. Well, I have been playing Outer Worlds. which I am quite taken with. It's a fabulous blend of, like, KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic.
I know what KOTOR is.
Well, some people might not.
Okay. Don't point to me as if, like, KOTOR...
It was just a blanket statement.
Knights of the Old Republic to the layperson.
To the layman. Yes, it's a blend of, like, Mass Effect and
mostly Fallout.
And Fallout. Definitely mostly Fallout, I would say. It definitely has, like, the Fallout vibe.
Well, it's got KOTOR's world scales.
And so it's like a beautiful blend of those three.
I mean, it's Obsidian, so that's why.
And I absolutely love it. It took me a little bit to get into it because I haven't played a game like that in ages, but I absolutely love it. I think it's truly fabulous. It's kept me engaged because it's one of those where, well, I mean, you're familiar with, like, Knights of the Old Republic. It's like,
of course, yeah.
In those, there was kind of like a sense of right and wrong. Like, there was good and bad.
It's Star Wars, so there's always the light versus dark.
Well, yeah, but they also, there's been games like that where they try to say, like, you lean to one side or the other, like, things that you do either turn you good or make you go down this dark path. Yeah, I get it.
Well, what's engaging about this one is it's hard to find who's in the wrong. So, like, a good example is the first town you're in, or the first, like, area you're in.
Mild spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for this one. There's like the whole universe is essentially corporations run everything. They call it the board.
It's the
galaxy.
This part of the game. Yeah. Basically, humans left Earth, and instead of just being like, you know, a one government, like, corporations basically went out and claimed planets.
Yes, wow. They claimed rights to planets, and, like, the big overall, like, thing that runs the planets is called the board. So the first planet you're on, the corporation has this, like, backwater hick town. They can Saltuna, they call it. So there's, like, this big cannery, and it's the whole you're pretty much working yourself to death. They only treat people if you're worth being treated. Otherwise, if you get sick, you clearly didn't work hard enough, and they leave you to die. Kind of thing. So they paint this picture that, like, this corporation's terrible and all these things. You eventually go up to meet, like, the head of the town, who's, you know, corporate man, and he seems nice enough. Like, he doesn't come off as a dick. He doesn't come off like a terrible person. He seems like he genuinely wants to take care of his people, and you're just waiting for that moment when he turns on you. Like, he's gonna show his corporate side and fuck everybody. He never really does. So the people that desert this town go off and they fuck off to this other area. The corporate town calls them deserters.
Okay.
And so they go off. They live off the land. Well, they're viewed as traitors. So your very first big story mission is you have to go cut power from their town and divert it back to the corporate town, because it's an energy suck. There's only so much energy on the planet. So it essentially will force the workers back to town to go back to work.
Well, it's all because you need a piece to fix your ship, and there's only 2 of these pieces on the planet.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
It powers one of 2 generators. So
is that a T-14 hyperdrive?
Basically, you can either power the town, or you can have the power going to the outpost. Yeah, and that's it. There's only enough from the power plant for one of the 2.
And there's no getting around it. Like, you have to make a decision. So it's like you visit the outpost, and that you get their whole story. You know, they were treated like shit. You know, the head of the outpost is able to make things grow again, because the whole idea is, like, nothing can grow in this area. You know, there's no food. They've literally been eating this saltuna, which is why this town's getting sick to begin with.
Yeah, salty tuna doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so it's like, so she's able to make, like, fruits and vegetables and shit in this greenhouse and stuff like that. She's able to make shit grow. Well, she really hates this fucking leader of this town. Like, it's almost like Vendetta-esque, and she doesn't care who she hurts. She just wants to get back at this guy. So it's like, when I did all that, and I got to the point where I have to make the decision, and you kind of find out how she's making things grow. She makes the soil fertile by grinding up humans. She's essentially putting bodies into the dirt and, like, grinding them up as fertilizer, and it's reinvigorating the earth. So, like...
But these are people, she's not killing them.
Oh, no. It's implied that she's grave robbing, and then, like, she's killing bandits or people that are too sick to keep going.
Yeah.
She uses all of them.
She's not like flat out going down the street, hey, bang. What? She's not doing that. She's just like taking.
Not yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I should mention the corporation makes you pay for your grave, and it's hard to describe.
Well, they basically, the corporation charges you for everything. You're on their planet, you're basically charged for stuff.
Yeah, like if you're sick, it's docked from your pay. Not you don't get sick pay. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much you have to pay them back. It's really like you really hate the corporation.
And that's why like it's So like you can hate the town because he basically has no choice but to make the people work because corporate expects certain things. And if corporate doesn't get what they want, they will send people in, and they will heavy-handed smack people or just flat out kill people and replace them.
Oh my God! It's Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of. Yeah.
You've never even seen Repo the Genetic Opera.
I read the synopsis. It was on Netflix one time.
Oh, that's so funny.
But no, so it's like I got to that decision. I'm like, I literally spent 5 or 10 minutes just sitting there thinking, like, what is the right move? Because like. The first partner you get, Parvati, this girl engineer, she basically tells you like don't cut power from to the town because it's like there are still good people in that town that just they have to work. It's like so you start to think beyond like, well, I can see the point of like keeping corporate alive because the people under them they're still good people. You know what I mean?
And they need corporate to survive.
Yeah.
Because basically, if a planet becomes non-profitable for a company, they cut all ties, and no one's allowed to go to the planet or leave the planet.
Yeah. Which there is a planet like that you have to visit in the game. But it's so it makes you think, and I love that idea of vague, like good and bad.
It's all a very gray moral system.
Exactly, and I love that. For some reason, I'm a huge sucker for games where it's like you're never clear who the bad guy is. And I like that a lot. So and that's why I like Outer Worlds so much because nothing's ever quite what it seems, but at the same time it also is. It's a weird experience.
Yeah.
But I really like the game a lot.
I don't know if I would be able to like handle that long term. Well, no, just because it's like the ramifications of like what you do and having this moral dilemma. Like even though it's in a game, you're still feeling it because you're so immersed in it and so like it's so interactive. And just constantly having that dilemma going through, it's like I just feel like it would weigh on me like after a while.
Well, and the one thing that's really nice about Outer Worlds is that it's small enough that multiple playthroughs would not be bad. So you could actually go through and do other options and not have to worry about
that kind of
it's
stuff.
It's not like I'm going to have to go dedicate 70 hours to do another playthrough. If you're fast and you know where you're going, you can blow through the game. I think it's like 15 hours. So that's doing all like the side quests and stuff if you know where you're going. If you just do the main story, I think you can beat it in like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
It's pretty short. Because even like Fallout 3 was kind of short.
Yeah.
If you just did. Even Morrowind, like they were all short enough, but it's just you get so lost in the world, that's where the bulk of your time comes from in a lot of games like those.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely, I didn't think I would like it as much as I do, but I absolutely love it. I love the characters. There's good humor in it. Like it's pretty good. So that will segue into kind of we've already been talking about it. Is the looter shooter or shooter looter? I guess I don't know what the fucking terminology is.
It should technically be shooter looter, but they always say looter shooter because it flows better.
Yeah, the looter shooter genre is what we're talking about today. So, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, basically take. Well. So you don't know what Diablo is.
Well, I'm going to say it. In order to really explain what the looter shooter genre is, you kind of have to take a small step back and go to like the early foundations of
it's like Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, no, I wouldn't even go back that far because I would say basically start like Diablo because that's what really got that style stuff going. Yeah. Where it's you go out, you kill a bunch of stuff, they drop new equipment, you're constantly upgrading and getting better stuff as you're going through. It's that cycle of like kill, loot, repeat. and that's just all you're doing.
Go through dungeons, kill a boss, get better stuff, and it's that form of building as opposed to like traditional RPGs, where it's kind of more of the experience grind. Yeah.
And then like so as you're going, you get the better equipment to fight the stronger stuff to keep going. So Diablo started as like the isometric hacking, and there were a ton of offshoots of those, and some have tried. Yes. There was a looter shooter before Borderlands. I think it was. I think it released before Borderlands, called Hellgate. Where
I have no idea.
It was a PC only.
Explains it. Those PC elitist sons of bitches.
Think they're better than us.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, so 2007.
No, I remember playing... I actually never played the first Diablo. I played Diablo 2. That's how I kind of got introduced into this genre. Because I remember Diablo 1 I had for the PC, but it was so slow that I kind of never got into it.
Hellgate came out before. It's 2007. Borderlands was 2009.
Did you ever play Diablo on the PlayStation?
Yes.
No, I wanted to.
Was that slow?
No. Well, it was. It was that early, and it was a little bit slower than the PC version because the PC version you had the speed of being able to move the mouse to click.
Yeah.
Whereas PS1 you were using the D-pad to walk and then X to like attack and interact and stuff.
Okay.
And Diablo 1 is very, very slow compared to...
It's sluggish.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Diablo 1 you could only go in the 8 directions.
Yeah.
It wasn't free-flowing. I suppose Diablo 2 wasn't free-flowing either.
Diablo 2 is still on the plane system, so...
But it was easier to move. You could run, which made it faster.
Yeah.
But
so and then so as the genre has gone, different companies have tried different things. Hellgate came out and it took the Diablo concept, but then moved it from just being melee based to also having classes that were I suppose Diablo always had like magic and stuff, but But then it also introduced like guns, so you were using machine guns and shotguns, rocket launchers, and then Borderlands comes out in 2009. And it does the same thing, but it's got a very unique aesthetic for the setting, because it was like the almost Wild West.
Yeah, was Hellgate? I'm getting vague glimpses of it. Maybe I do remember.
Called Hellgate London here, I think.
London. So essentially, like I feel like what they were trying to do, it's like mix Doom and Diablo.
Yeah, basically, because it was Earth was fine. Something either they were using technology or something or magic and all of a sudden, demons are on Earth, which is basically Doom's story, just not except for directly on Earth instead of us starting on Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah.
So.
But yes, I would say Borderlands definitely kicked it into prominence.
Yeah, Borderlands. Yeah, Hellgate was a very niche title.
Yeah, especially being PC.
Yeah.
But, Borderlands came along, and I remember it kind of took the genre by storm.
Yeah.
Like, they pretty much defined it.
There was nothing on the consoles like it at the time.
No. Which, first-person shooters have been around for ages. Doom and Wolfenstein. And,
yeah, but those games were never known for dropping gratuitous amounts of, like...
No, but he's just talking about the shooting in general.
Yeah. Shooting kind of came into prominence with... I wouldn't even say Wolfenstein, even though it was before Doom, but Doom is really what elevated it to that next level and really became...
because even Doom got ported over to, like, Super Nintendo and stuff.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah. It was. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's when first-person shooters kind of really came into prominence.
Yeah.
When that game came out. Oh, yeah, I know.
I would almost say Halo took it a step further. Because there were people who never even touched FPSs, and then they played Halo.
But most people also at least knew about Doom.
Oh yeah, but everybody knows.
But see,
Doom.
here's the difference though, is that Doom was always a first-person shooter that was for the PC gamer. Even though it was ported to other systems, it was ported to everything: Sega Saturn, Super Nintendo, 3DO. It was ported to everything. But even though console gamers could play it, it was still kind of in the PC gaming market only.
Yeah.
And Halo was the first one, well, it probably wasn't the first, but it was the first main first-person shooter that made that type of game genre, I won't say accessible, but it brought it to the masses of the home video game market.
Oh, absolutely.
It clicked for some reason better with...
Yes,
I think because of the unique multiplayer type at the time.
And that might have been it, too.
Because, to be honest, because N64 had GoldenEye, and Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
And while GoldenEye was really, really popular, it did not quite catch the way Halo did.
Well, wasn't Halo before GoldenEye?
No, God,
Nintendo
no.
64.
Yeah,
I thought N64 was around like the Xbox, PS2 era.
No. GoldenEye came out in 1996, and Halo came out in 2001.
Really?
Xbox came out in 2001.
Because Xbox was GameCube.
When was GoldenEye, did you say?
96.
Yeah, something like
Jesus fuck.
Perfect Dark, I think, was like 98.
I think.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking. I never really got those games in N64. I got an N64 late. So maybe that's why.
I never had an N64 growing up, but it's funny because I was friends with like people who had N64s, and we would play the heck out of like GoldenEye, but I was always terrible at it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so funny because, and I think we've made mention of this before too, is that the games were like, you saw it first growing up, and it's like,
whoa!
Oh my god, this is groundbreaking.
How do people move this fast?
And you play them now, or you look at them now, and you're just like, where am I? I'm in a maze. It's so hard to tell what's what.
It's not just that.
It's a not-age crazy.
The way shooters used to be versus what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Like now we're used to the dual analog setup where one analog moves you, one looks you.
Yes.
Well, first off,
used to be that way.
Doom never had up or down, left.
Nope.
You left, right. As long as your gun was pointed a direction, you hit what you were shooting at.
Yep.
Like even going to like N64, GoldenEye, you walked. In order to fine aim, you had to hold the R trigger.
Yeah.
And aim with the analog stick, but you couldn't move.
And I think turning needed the C button.
Yeah. Or you could do it the other way, so analog and then walk with.
So it was like a goofy setup like that. And even the original Halo, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you could look down the sights on the original Xbox.
You clicked the analog stick in.
I know it did for some of the guns, but I don't think it did because I think clicking the stick in was your melee attack.
No, B was melee.
Are you sure?
Yep.
On the original Halo, I feel like it wasn't a look down the sights.
The only reason I remember being able to do this because I remember people using the pistol to shoot across the gulch.
Oh, that's right. Well, the pistol was the most OP fucking weapon in Halo.
Well, in any shooter at the time.
Sounds like we need to have a good old-fashioned Halo night.
Oh, hell yeah. I would love to. I haven't played Halo in years.
Oh, God.
But that's kind of the point. It's like, Lord knows you never probably played that genre growing up. Lord knows I fucking didn't.
I did.
No, but Halo, when Halo burst onto the scene, like, that got me into FPSs to begin with.
Well, and it's funny because that is... It actually did the opposite for me, is that when that kind of came onto the scene, it got me into first-person shooters because I would play it in groups of people, like our Halo nights that we used to have, and I used to get my ass beat, and so it basically brought me into it and drew me away. Like, I do not want anything to do with first-person shooters anymore as a result of Halo.
I did like playing Halo by myself. It was fun. The story wasn't great, but
it was typical. If you're a sci-fi fan, the story,
which I am,
other than like a couple of the MacGuffins, was basic sci-fi that's been around since the 50s.
Brave mind who does nothing.
Swats your ship down and then lets you walk away.
Stupid. Halo 2 and 3 were just dumb.
But like, and then like Borderlands did one major thing to beyond just like the looting and stuff. First off, it had the randomized, instead of just being like Diablo, where it's this affix on this weapon gives it these stat possibilities, or this like elemental. Borderlands was like the guns were randomly generated, other than a few of them.
They always touted million guns in this game.
And then the other big thing that a lot of games, like every game did, like basically after that, was the RPG mechanics.
Yeah.
That became a huge thing in just about every fucking game. I can't, even action games now, like, even, I mean, granted, there were still, like, Devil May Cry, you sort of had it, you got the souls to buy new moves, but you didn't really level. So, but like, now, like, action games, you level up and you get new skills or new this and that. The Assassin's Creed game, you have a leveling system and stuff like that. And that went from like a stealthy type to like an action.
Mass Effect is a good example.
Yeah.
Mass Effect went from KOTOR, all of a sudden now it's pure shooter.
Yeah, which
and Mass Effect 3, I think it went.
2, it shifted that way.
2 still had RPG elements to it, but definitely not to the level 1 did. I loved Mass Effect 1.
Mass Effect 1 was okay.
I because I was such a KOTOR fan and I like sci-fi, like Mass Effect was fun. I loved the story, but honestly, Mass Effect bit off more than it could chew by their promises. It kind of fell it fell victim to like the Fable syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna promise every decision you make in the first one will carry throughout the series. It didn't because I truly feel it was another one that's a victim of the times. Had Mass Effect started in PS3 and come forward.
To be honest,
I think they could have pulled it off.
They could have pulled it off when it came out had they not released on console.
Of course. Yeah, I think
because
so too.
PCs at the time were capable of doing what they were talking about. Also, PCs have massive storage, so you could have the much larger save files and stuff like that, and it wasn't an issue. So, had they gone PC only, they would have been able to do what they were talking about, not to mention they wouldn't have to have split their resources the way for developing on consoles.
But Mass Effect I loved, because that's kind of another looter shooter.
Yeah, because that one you got... it
was third person, but it was still...
The first one especially, because it was tons and tons of equipment, because you constantly broke it down for the Omni gels. And whereas, like, in 2 and 3, they basically were like, oh, no, you don't get loot drops anymore. Mm-hmm. You basically buy these set 12 things and you're done.
Yeah, and then Mass Effect 3 just completely took it out of the... They're just like, these are your guns. Yeah. You're done. No stats to increase, no nothing. I haven't played Andromeda, so
Andromeda I liked. It was a good concept, but there are just a bunch of flaws that get in the way with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, I mean, Borderlands eventually spun off so many different games. I mean, you have The Division, is a looter shooter. Destiny is a big one.
Destiny combined elements of the looter shooter with MMOs.
Anthem, Apex Legends. I mean, they're
no. Apex Legends is is that
a battle royale?
It's a battle royale.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay.
It's more of a team deathmatch, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, okay, kind of like Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, where it's got 4v4.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose technically, like PUBG are like looter shooters, sort of, because you have to find all the loot, like the weapons and stuff in the environment. You start with nothing.
Yeah.
But to me, that's where it gets a little fuzzy, because to me, looter shooter is random spawn enemy I kill, it drops weapon I pick up.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a whole shitload of them. We've played a lot. I've
played the entire Borderlands franchise.
Me too.
Technically, not.
No, you haven't. You haven't played Tales of the Borderlands.
I don't count that. That's just story.
The story actually affects Borderlands 3. So
not to take a step back.
No,
but
we can't do that, Paul.
No, thinking about this, would you consider a game like Castlevania Symphony of the Night a looter shooter? Like, to some degree. Random enemies drop random equipment, which can then help you.
A loot action game, but it'd be a loot.
I mean, it's not classified as
suppose loosely.
It's not classified as that. It's a Metroidvania.
It falls into the same category as like Diablo.
But it's the same.
It's the hack and slash.
Yeah, it's the same principle. Like random enemy encounters, they drop items that can then help you with your quest further down the line.
Yeah.
And
you level up in that one, and
I suppose so. In a very loose term, because it's another one of those things.
It'd be an action or hack and slash.
Because I was thinking about that, like almost like action RPGs, like that, and even like Marvel Ultimate Alliance would kind of be the same thing, where it's like
the first one was because there was a lot more equipment to pick up.
Yes, there was. Yeah,
they're like especially like X-Men Legends, you had a whole 3 or 4 different equipment spots per character. That one was definitely more of the loot Diablo style. Like
there's no shooting.
Yeah. There was Iceman.
Yeah, I was gonna say some characters could shoot actually. Yeah,
but still,
you little bitch.
That's another one of those where it's kind of hard to define.
The genre gets a little fuzzy. Yeah,
it does because of what basically the genre is. There's a lot of games that kind of meet that criteria.
Yeah. So it's like saying an RPG.
Yes, because technically anything could be considered an RPG. Yeah.
For the sake of this, I'm going to say things that are mostly
shooting gun-based. Okay, yeah.
Because Division's mostly gun-based. Yeah, you have melee attacks, just like in Outer Worlds is a looter shooter, but you could do a melee build.
Yeah.
But I would say it definitely falls more in that kind of vein. KOTOR could, I suppose.
It's still, that's really just standard fare for RPG.
Yeah, it's hard to really kind of say it, but we'll focus more on the ones that it's primarily shooting. So like you said, we played all the Borderlands ones.
What? Why are you laughing, Paul?
Just something I thought.
Oh God.
No.
Care to share with the class?
No, because you. It's probably funnier to me than it is to anybody else.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
This is gonna be comedy gold, folks.
Here we go. Oh, it sure is.
Spin it up.
Okay, so you said in that same vein, and I'm thinking to myself, would you say in that castle vein? Yeah.
And that right there just killed our podcast. We now will no longer have any fans or subscribers.
Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Go to powergaming.tv.
I love it.
Takes you right to the
so good. It's so good.
You're such an idiot. Glad we're bringing our A game today.
I don't know about you guys, but that's comedy gold right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, he ain't shooting.
I am all set. I am all set. I don't have to say anything else funny because, boom, I'm done.
Glad you contributed.
Mic drop.
Such a dummy.
Why are we friends with him? I mean, other than these are his games.
So anyway, Borderlands. Obviously, we've talked about Borderlands. We had a whole episode dedicated to Borderlands 3 before that came out.
Yep.
But like you had said, Borderlands pretty much defined the genre.
Yeah.
I mean, you had so many different classes you could be. It was a great game.
Well, it was the 4 for the first one.
Was it 4?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was.
It was Roland, Lilith, Mordecai, and Brick in the first one.
Oh, that's right.
And that was it.
Yeah, and then they expanded upon that in 2.
And
where
then
they had
2, you had
6.
6 at the end.
Yeah,
because they ended up Gage and
Zeke.
And Krieg.
Krieg, that's what it was. I thought it was with Z.
No.
Yeah, and then the pre-sequel also had 6?
5.
5?
I think it was 5.
No, they just added the Baroness.
Oh yeah.
No, I thought they added the
Aurelia.
Doppelganger too. Because
He was one of the base classes, I think.
Was he?
I think so.
Because there was Doppelganger, Claptrap, the Gunslinger, the Gladiator. Oh yeah, and then the Baroness.
Yeah.
No, and then the other one. What's his face? The soldier guy. What the hell's his name?
Oh, Wilhelm or William?
Wilhelm. So there were 6. Yeah, the soldier.
Yeah, that's right, because they had the 2 robots. Yeah, I didn't care for pre-sequel as much.
You know, pre-sequel would have been fine had there not been the oxygen system.
Had it not felt like you were running through peanut butter anytime you were outside.
Yeah. Pre-sequel took place on the moon.
Well, yeah, you're in on this entire like low grav setting, so anytime you're indoors, it feels fine. You go outside, the air system is like fine, whatever. The jumping was cool at the low grav, but it always felt like you were moving sluggish.
It's like molasses.
Yeah, it was bad.
It got annoying after a while.
Ugh.
Which that honestly was probably the biggest downfall. Like, I loved playing as the Baroness. I thought that was awesome.
Broken. I beat the entire game with her, and it was just like, I'm done.
Like, the Claptrap was interesting because you had no oxygen. You didn't have to worry about it. You're a robot.
Yeah, but all of his skills sucked because they were random.
Yeah, his ultimate skill was a random effect. So it's like you were never guaranteed. You literally had to come down to pure skill.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Pre-sequel I didn't like as much. 2 was probably where it shined the best.
Yeah. Because it took all the lessons they learned from the first one, made them better.
Yeah.
And then the expansions for that one were amazing.
2? Yeah.
Pre-sequel, they basically did the character pack. Then they did the Claptrap Voyage or whatever it was called. And then they scrapped all the other expansions they were planning for that one because it went over like shit.
Yeah.
So they stopped that one, and I think that's when they started working on Borderlands 3.
Yeah, and Borderlands 3 was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
The classes felt interesting and unique in the fact that you could change how your special functioned. So it was essentially like you had 3 classes in one character.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating, and I did like it. I still haven't beaten it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
it got old to me.
Maybe it's because I'm kind of burned out on the genre.
Yeah.
But like,
I could see that.
With Borderlands 2, I went back to that one a lot.
Probably as much as you have Diablo 3.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
But like with Borderlands 3, like I love the game. I enjoyed the story. But it either feels like something is missing, or it's just I've had too much of it.
Yeah. I didn't beat it because preceding 3, I played all of 2.
Yeah.
I did 2 games of it. I did the original game, and then I did a new game plus. And I played through it twice. So to kind of prep myself for 3, and I think by that point, I was just like,
yeah,
all right,
I've had enough.
I've had my fill, and I kind of stepped away from it.
Yeah.
And then I went back to like traditional like JRPGs, you know.
Or back to Destiny.
Well, no, almost. I dipped my toe into Destiny, and I was just like, nope,
I'm out.
Yep. So we'll talk about Destiny, since that was a good segue.
I played through Destiny.
Absolutely adored Destiny 1. I loved it.
I didn't as much
because I'm not an MMO guy.
I liked the character classes. I loved the aesthetics. Yep. The story was fun. There just was no content in that game.
It was 2 of my favorite things. RPGs and sci-fi. I loved it. I didn't care so much for the shooting because I'm terrible at it.
Well, since when have you loved sci-fi?
We talked about this. That's like I've found over the years my taste. I tend to lean more towards like the sci-fi version of RPGs than I do like the
remember,
fantasy.
he loves like Phantasy Star and
Star Ocean.
Okay, those are technically sci-fi.
I know, because I'm only just thinking like
even Final Fantasy is more sci-fi. Than
he has this
later ones anyway.
Yeah. He has this deep like disdain for Star Wars, but claims to love sci-fi. Like I don't understand that one.
I love the KOTOR.
Well,
yeah, it's true.
Star Wars is science fantasy, not science fiction.
Oh! Did that blow your fucking mind?
Star Trek is science fiction.
I do. Star Trek's okay. I can't really claim to like one more than the other. See, alright. Star Wars, alright, I have a very love-hate relationship with it. I love listening to you guys talk about Star Wars.
And you love the games.
And I do love the games, absolutely. KOTOR was, those two of my favorite games on the Xbox.
Did you ever play the Unleashed games?
I have not, but I watched him play it.
Yeah.
And I liked watching him play it.
He watched me play all of Force Unleashed. So
that was a good one though. I liked it. Yeah.
Like we discussed in the Star Wars episode of the podcast or the Powercast we did, it came down to the movies to me were slow and they were confusing. Mm-hmm. But like the games were perfect. Like because they changed the story and it fucking didn't make any sense. All of a sudden we're space bugs.
They didn't change the story. That's the way that it was supposed to be.
The space bugs. And then the Force is not represented in the first 3 or the original trilogy. We're getting off topic. All right, this is gonna be another Star Wars episode.
Yeah,
why don't we just throw some stir fetches in there and talk about Pokemon for 20 minutes? No. But no, I lean more towards the sci-fi aspect of RPG type. Mm-hmm. So like KOTOR or
like
Phantasy Star Ocean, Mass Effect I liked. So ones like that.
Destiny had a lot of that.
And Destiny was, but they added like warlocks and stuff like this. So it was cool. It was there was like magic and shit.
Space magic.
It was like space magic.
It was like sci-fi meets Gauntlet.
Kinda. Yeah. So it's like I absolutely love Destiny 1. It was a cool concept. I'm not an MMO guy personally. I hate playing with people, but that game I liked. Like it kind of
MMO light.
Yeah, it got me into that kind of a style because I was never into WoW. I tried, could not get into it because it was one of those things where the hardcore people who there are tornado sirens.
Testing.
Yes,
it's the test. Yeah.
The hardcore people who played WoW shunned away newbies.
Yeah, they were gatekeeping to it.
They gatekeep the game. So it's like if you and to a lesser degree, Destiny kind of did it too. But at the same time, Destiny also catered to it, to inviting new people in while shunning the old people. At least we'll talk about that. But Destiny 1, I liked the story, or what was fucking represented of it, which was one of the biggest downfalls of it.
That was one of my biggest complaints with the first Destiny is they made a good story, 90% of which is not even in the game.
No. You got these things called grimoire cards that you unlocked. You go online to read it. It doesn't even give it to you in fucking game. You have to go on to Bungie.fuck and look it up.
That's
and then I gotta read it.
that's stupid.
This is the age of technology. It's the future. I shouldn't have to read shit.
Be force-fed to me.
She tell me about it. But that was probably the biggest thing of Destiny that fell off. Even though I know that kind of wasn't the point, was the story. It was an MMO. It's about playing games together.
But they also touted the story as one of the key aspects during all of the advertisement
Yes,
stuff.
they did.
Yeah.
So you can't sit there and be like, oh, it's a story game, and then say, oh, by the way,
You gotta read
the
it.
story.
Yeah. Which is, we'll get into that whole aspect.
Well,
in a bit.
and you said that these are cards that you find. It's not something that is just like
You unlock
readily available. Like it's you have to work to find the story.
Well, and like you get some of them by doing stupid stuff like X number of kills with certain weapon types.
See, that makes no sense whatsoever.
And
then
use this character, get him to the max level, and use different abilities
Why
and do
would
stuff.
you-
It's like,
why would you have this beautiful story that you're then hiding from people?
or finding all the dead ghosts.
Or you're finding an incomplete story, and so therefore it's like you have an experience of like, oh, I've read documents like 1, 5, and 7. It's like altogether on its face, it means nothing.
I read Harry Potter 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it means nothing to me.
Yeah. Kind of like Star Wars to me.
Oh, shut
I
up.
saw the first movie and the fifth movie. That's it.
You
The story means nothing to me.
move on.
But that's kind of where it fell off. But it picked up in the fact that, like, I liked the different array of weapons you could use. I liked the idea of the exotics, like, where you could only equip one at a time. So, like, you had different weapons slots and different armor slots, but only one of those could be exotic, which was, like, the highest tier of
Oh,
equipment.
sure.
So you didn't have people who were max level running around with all exotic equipment fucking you up.
Yeah.
But it came down to, I hate PvP. That's all. I've never liked fighting actual people. And unfortunately, to get some of those exotics, you had to fight actual people in something called a crucible. So that was their PvP aspect of the game.
Yeah.
So it was like, get a 5 kill streak. Bitch, when my kill rate is 1 in 16, I'm not getting a 5 kill streak.
Yeah.
So it got, like, that's kind of where I fell off, was the fact that it tried to push the PvP aspect so hard that it turned me off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and especially with the first one, I mean, we're still the same way in the second one, was when you got to endgame, it was basically you either do Crucible and do PvP matches, which is just, you know, what is it, 3 versus 3 or 4 versus 4?
It could be 3v3 or 5v5.
So, or it was go run the same 7 missions repeatedly with some modifiers.
They had raids.
And then the raid
system.
So there was an
raids were
H mission.
interesting.
Woo!
It was just like the raids were a long dungeon, but the raids essentially just came down to, which I hate,
Gear check.
Gear check. Yeah, it was essentially, if you don't have a specific build, you're not beating this.
Oh.
So it came down to every single person had this Yallarhorn, the rocket launcher that shot off other rockets, and people would get pissed at you if you didn't use it. Like, genuinely, they would kick you out of their group.
Oh my god!
Or they would just
really?
leave. Like, people were that petty about shit.
Oh god, that's terrible.
Well, and it was the game was also at that point, like, the raids were so imbalanced that if you weren't using these exact setups, you were dead in one shot.
So what's the point of having choices if the only one choice is viable?
Yeah, there's only one way to do it.
Yeah, which that's one of the biggest things I think this genre kind of falls victim to. Because even Borderlands
is bad.
falls victim to it too, late game.
Borderlands 2 not so much, but Borderlands 3 definitely.
Yep.
Because Borderlands 2, my build was very different from your brother's build, which was very different from my friend George's build, which, like, we all had very different builds for the same character. Borderlands 3, it was, this build is the only viable build for this character because they play tested their game, and this is part of the reason, and this might be part of the reason why I fell off of it, was, okay, we're like, this is the only build that's viable for doing stuff. 2 of the characters, their skills were basically absolutely fucking useless endgame.
Probably Zane and what's-her-face's Iron Bear.
Nope, Moses Iron Bear
Yeah.
and Flax Pets. They die in one shot.
Really?
Literally.
Pets?
Moe's, her Iron Bear could be destroyed before you ever even get to use it.
See, that's stupid.
And then Flax Pets, they run off to go attack something and die in one shot on the highest difficulty stuff. So like like people were like, okay, so we found these builds that worked, and then what happened? Well, these builds are working better than what Gearbox wanted, so they just nerf everything.
Yeah, which that's been the biggest issue with this. With Borderlands 3.
And Destiny has that issue, too.
Yeah,
So one weapon's dominating everything. Let's cut the legs off of it till the next weapon rises up, and, we'll raise all these other weapons. Well, one weapon clearly goes up higher than the rest of them. Well, that one's too powerful. It's either it's dominating everything and people are bitching, or it's making, like, the raid trivial, so we can't allow that, so cut the legs off.
Because Destiny 1, I remember Thorn was the biggest one, because Thorn, the whole idea of the gun was I shoot you, it essentially poisons you, quote unquote, so you're, as long as you're hit once, you're dead, because it constantly chunks off,
it'll keep
chips off your
And
life.
it's not some small amount either.
No, and it lasts for a while, so really all you need to do is peck off one shot, and even if you die, they're gonna die too, so who cares?
Yeah.
So that one I remember was the biggest one, and 2, I only played the base game. I didn't play any expansion.
I haven't done any of the DLC for 2.
But 2, I remember Cold Heart, the laser beam.
Well, and then there was also that rat pistol where I think an exotic where for every other one that's other players are using in your group, it got stronger. So when all 4 players are running that gun, it became ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, I know which one you're talking about, but I don't think I
didn't do the quest because it's this long ass quest to do it, and I said no.
Yeah, but in every genre or every game of this genre kind of runs into that problem too, where it's like once an expansion comes out, everything equipment wise from the previous either base game or expansion is rendered useless.
With the exception of maybe like the uniques.
Well, even those are useless because a lot of them.
Destiny, yes.
Destiny,
but like,
it did.
Diablo never did.
No.
Borderlands, Borderlands 2 never did, because there were certain weapons I got at the end of Borderlands 2 that I used through every expansion because they were better than...
Not me.
The legendary weapons were.
Even the legendary ones got... Like, once they've outlived their usefulness in the first one, like, unless you picked it up again in the higher difficulties with the boosted stats, it was pointless. Because you found better common shit stronger than the shit you were using.
Yeah, so that one, as far as that sort of stuff, yeah.
Which is always... it's something that it's hard for them to balance that kind of shit. But, like you said, Borderlands 3, I forget what our topic what were we going on about? We kind of
nerfing stuff.
We kind of went off on a weird, like, snake tangent with
nerfing stuff. Like,
Destiny 1 and 2. Yeah.
So, like, certain things hit a certain power threshold, and it's either working... Either the developers don't properly test stuff, so it's way more powerful, or they realize people are having fun with it, which has been it's been a problem with Borderlands. That's with 3 is players find really fun builds to play that are like strong, and like there was one that for Moze, she basically got infinite grenades, and with this build, and like you'd set it up so that like because you were using these electric based grenades, well, just run into the thing and like because you had shields and all this other stuff that was building you up, so the electric would heal you, so it's bringing your shields back and stuff, so you just spam grenades everywhere. Gearbox didn't like the way it was working, so they were like, no, they basically, players are having fun with this, fuck them, they can't be having fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, jeez.
So it was just one of those things where they're like, well, it's not working as intended. Well, it's like, you have playtesters. You pay people to play test.
Yeah, why didn't they figure this one out?
Not just that. Your staff developed the skills and the items.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not go, oh, this skill does this item does this, they interact this way? That's basic fucking math, and you can't do it.
Got that right. Well, I know, like, I could see them fixing certain ones. Like, there's been a lot of glitches in 3, too. Like, there's a grenade that basically, like...
It was hitting, like, multiple times, and it was only supposed to detonate once.
Yes. So it would, like, bounce and detonate every time, and it was essentially, like, one-shotting bosses.
Yeah, the porcelain pipe bomb.
There's another one where it's, like, you get a damage stack, quote-unquote, and it keeps stacking. Well, somebody found out that if you get this stack and then jump off a cliff, It doesn't take your stack away. It's supposed to if you just flat out die. It's supposed to take the stacks, but it wasn't if you killed yourself. So, a guy I know from work, he would just rubber band his controller to have him respawn, jump off a cliff, respawn, jump off a cliff until and there was no stack limit. There was a point where he was hitting for over like 5 million a shot.
Oh my god!
He ran through the entire game on the highest difficulty, just
like picking off
like it was
stuff,
nothing.
Like,
yeah. So like glitches like that.
That makes sense.
Fix it. That's breaking your game.
Yeah.
But builds like that, where it's like you're kind of having fun with it and coming up with creative solutions to things.
Well, and the thing that makes it worse too is balancing stuff in a game that's purely PvP makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you want everything. Well, I mean, so theoretically, you want everything to be viable. Not always that way, but like in a game where it's only PvE, if I want to play a ridiculously overpowered thing and just slaughter everything, I'm not affecting anyone else's game.
Yeah.
Why am I not allowed to play that way?
Yeah. Which I agree with.
Which, I mean, the Borderlands franchise built itself on being ridiculous and over the top in weapons and in the humor and all this. So for them to take an opposing design philosophy all of a sudden is like, what are you doing? It's like, this is not what you guys said you were making.
Yeah.
And there was something, and I can't remember what game it was, but you guys will probably remember it too, because there was a point where the game developers and like the gatekeepers were basically saying, so what ended up happening was that there was they put in a hidden room in this game where the developers didn't expect anybody to find it. And it was something that never was, I guess, intended for the game, but some players actually ended up finding this room that had, I don't know if it was infinite weapons or it had some kind of weapons that were, really super strong. But basically, they just found it and they just by chance did it themselves, and they ended up getting banned because they went to a place in the game that was not supposed to be intended for people. Now, I can't remember what game it was that they did.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I can't remember.
But in a case like that, any game like that, who do you think is at fault?
The developer.
The developers for keeping it in when they didn't want people to find it, or the player for being curious, playing a game that they want to get the most out of and have a great time with,
they
find it on accident.
The only time I would ever blame a player is if they are negatively affecting other people's ability to play and enjoy a game.
Yeah. And to their defense, they weren't. They were they just found this room and they're like, "What was this room intended for?" And before they know it, they get the ban hammer.
Yeah,
that's
slapped
weird.
on them.
God, I don't know what that was.
It's gonna bug me now.
I honestly, I can't. I remember hearing all about it where players they found it, and there was, I think, the first couple people were taking weapons out of this room that were not intended, and so it's like they got banned. But then there were people who were just curious because they thought there's this aspect of the game that wasn't intended for it. I wanted
Fallout 76.
It was Fallout 76.
Jesus Christ! What a disaster!
And I want to see it. And these people just wanting to see it, or even attempting to get there, were getting banned.
And even at that point, getting banned from that game, that's not a problem.
No, there's probably not. Yeah, that's
the biggest problem is
that's a story unto itself.
Yeah, they really screwed the pooch on that game.
Oh, yes, they did. They were recycling resources and stuff.
Reusing assets, totally fine. It's a good way for developers to save money. Pokemon Company Game Freak has done it for how long with the Pokemon games?
That is true.
Fucking Blizzard does it with Warcraft and Diablo. I don't mind reusing assets. What I do hate is they did the Fable problem. They promised the world, and then when they came out, they're like, they promised this amazing sand pit that you can go and do stuff in. They gave you a cat litter box.
With no NPCs.
Yeah.
So there's literally nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It was an empty world where you were finding, tapes to do stuff, and, it's so bad where, there were certain, the ghouls where if they were in the distance, they'd be standing in a T-pose. because they would stay that way until you walked up to them, and then all of a sudden they dropped down to the ground where they were supposed to be, laying on the ground like asleep.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
It was really bad.
Or they were saying something about like glitches that were found in like Fallout 4 or something like that also appeared in Fallout 76, meaning that they not only did they like recycle like resources from Fallout 4, but they didn't even fix like they literally like stole code from Fallout 4 that they never corrected and put it into Fallout 76.
Yeah, I know the biggest one I can remember is the guy setting off multiple nukes at once and it like crashed the game.
Yeah.
Like crashed the whole server, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Oh my god, seriously?
Because the game just literally had no idea how to even process the fact that all of these nukes are going off at
the same time.
Because I remember there was a gun in Fallout 3 that launched multiple nukes. I can't remember what it was called.
The MIRV.
Was it?
Yeah.
Where it would launch like 4 or 5 nukes
the
and
problem is you had
blow
to
up.
arc it, otherwise you dropped them at your feet and nuked yourself.
But using the nukes in Fallout in general was such a disaster.
I just love it, the Merv Griffin.
Yeah.
No, it's MIRV.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Multiple something. I can't remember what it stands for.
Something.
Rocket something, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it launched the nukes that look like footballs.
It's so funny.
But it would go up and then spread out and then just get.
Yeah, it was cool because it was a good way to take out like the mega brutes, the big fuckers in 3
or whatever they were called. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember hearing all of the no pun intended, the fallout from Fallout 76, and literally the game came out, and within 1 week the prices of the game were slashed in half, and then another week, like 2 or 3 weeks after that, they were then cut to $20.
They're still trying to salvage that game.
I feel like didn't they make it free at one point?
I don't know.
Just to try to get people into it?
I want to say they did. They did make it free to play.
I'm actually surprised that didn't cripple them.
Yeah,
I mean, in this day and age, with how volatile it can be,
one bad game can completely cripple even the strongest.
It can crush a studio.
Yeah.
So like, it's almost surprising that didn't crush them.
Well, I don't know.
Bethesda's lucky that
Gearbox has survived Duke Nukem Forever, Aliens, Colonial Marines.
But I mean, are those games anybody really took seriously? It wasn't. I wouldn't call that.
So
Duke Nukem how long in development?
Yeah, but Colonial Marines. Okay, so that one I guess you can't. Yes, because that one was like 13 years in development hell. So you can't say that people were expecting a lot from it.
No.
Because there comes a point where it's like maybe for the first 2 or 3 years they were promising the world, and then by year 5, year 6, people are like, oh yeah, it's probably not even going to come out. Year 10, it's like, oh wait, you're still making that game? It's like people don't even care at that point anymore.
To be fair, I don't consider them on the upper shelf.
It's not a
AAA title.
It wasn't a AAA title to begin with. At no point.
Fallout.
Yeah,
for Bethesda, it's a AAA title. Like that's what they're known for. With how successful 3 and 4 were.
Yes, it was one of their landmark series. Yeah. So I would say that regardless of what it was, it would have been a AAA title.
Did they do New Vegas as well? I thought
Obsidian did.
That's what I thought.
Bethesda published it, but Obsidian developed it.
Which I liked New Vegas actually. That was a good one.
It was by far the best of like this branch of
because
Fallout.
Bethesda didn't actually develop it.
Yeah,
right.
Because it wasn't buggy as hell.
I'm sorry. Bethesda even since Nintendo, they have never gotten their shit right.
But like Fallout 76, like that, I remember hearing about it, and it was supposed to come out. And it was supposed to be this big multiplayer fun fuck. And it was just a fuck.
Well, and that was even they were screwed from the get-go too, because they released their like collector's edition thing for like $200.
Flat out
and there was supposed to be a canvas bag that came with it. And when people were getting their $200 editions of this game, it was literally just like
a cheap gym bag.
A cheap gym bag that you would get like at a freaking like Barnes and Noble like shopping bag.
Oh god, no! It's cheaper than that. It's like a dollar store one.
Yeah, like a dollar store one. And then they're like, when people started complaining to Bethesda about it, they're like, oh well, there was a national canvas shortage, so we couldn't make it. And I'm like,
was bullshit.
And I'm like, seriously, there was a shortage in the world of canvas material? Yeah, right. No, it's because they were cheaping out at that point too, and it like they were screwed from that point, and the game hadn't even like come out. at that point.
So needless to say, there's not going to be a Fallout 5 anytime soon. Is what
No,
you're saying.
Well, Elder Scrolls
Unless-
6 is coming out first, anyways.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe too.
Well, they've already.
How long have they been riding Skyrim's fucking ass?
Well, yeah. But
Skyrim
Well,
has
that's
been
because
out.
that's
for-
because they have to. They have to take this resting period for Fallout 76 or for
Yeah.
Fallout so that it can recover from the fiasco that was 76.
To be honest, like Skyrim for them has been their longest stretch of like how much. It's like Square Enix's Final Fantasy 15. How long can we stretch this fucker out before it snaps? Because they haven't talked anything about Final Fantasy 16. They haven't done anything other than like
Kingdom Hearts
or anything like this. So it's like Final Fantasy's kind of been dead in the water. They've done what?
No,
Worlds of
technic-
Final Fantasy.
No, technically the remake of 7 is
not just that, but they've also been doing a lot for the MMO.
Yeah, that's true.
14? Yeah, 14.
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Realm Reborn was the re-release.
That was the
of it.
re-release. It's not. See, Shadow Keeps Destiny. Damn it.
Shadowbringers.
Shadowbringers. Yes, was the recent thing, and they pretty much reinvigorated 14. But you haven't seen hide or hair of 16.
Yeah, the mainline.
Yeah,
the
and
real mainline games.
they've pretty much just been like, let's re-release 15 on all these different things. Let's release a Royal Edition, a Deluxe Edition, a Deluxe Royal Edition. Let's
taking a page out of the Capcom handbook.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I fucking hated that with like their Marvel Ultimate or not Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and like Street Fighter 4. It's like, oh my god.
They've done that since Street Fighter 2.
They did. I know they did. That's
How
why
many
I said
versions of 2 has there been?
there was like Street Fighter 2
Championship
Turbo.
Championship Turbo.
Then there was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
They've always done that.
and it's like, ugh, I can't stand it. Why? And they make these minor like updates from like the arcade, but
We
they
added
make
one more
it,
character.
but they make it a full blown release. Like
That's Blaze Blue.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo was literally, it added 4 characters. That was it. And it was a $69.99 game. Like, it was a full released game. Like, how can you do that?
But anyway, 76, like, that would be like Square Enix putting out Final Fantasy 16, and it's just a fucking disaster. Like, do you think... But granted, Square Enix has so many IPs. Mm-hmm. Or even, like, Kingdom Hearts 3. Look how long it took Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out, and that game just fucking bombed.
To be honest, from what I've played of it, because I finally started it, wasn't worth the wait.
A lot of people liked it, and there's the DLC Remind is supposed to be pretty
like
good.
the graphics just look like shit for how long.
Well,
because like
that's like anything.
Because like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, like the graphics looked, even for PS2, you could see where they were pushing the hardware and doing stuff, but like everything in 3 to me looks like instead of adding textures, they were like smooth it out.
Well, that's because
smooth it out. The clothes have a lot of detail, but the world, make it butter. It's just smooth.
Well, and you got to remember too, it skipped PS3.
Yeah.
It went from PS2 to PS4. So I mean, how long has it been in development?
It was in development for PS3.
Exactly. It's kind of the same case as that one game that was, or Last Guardian, that was supposed to be out on PS3 and then ended up jumping to PS4 and it looked like shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's because of how long it took. Honestly, Kingdom Hearts. I love the series, but
I know you
it's
do.
so convoluted and it just. It's one of those where I just toss it up.
And I literally watched that video about like the story of
Barry explains the story
how
of
he
Kingdom
explains
Hearts.
it, and I'm just like, I still can't tell you what the game is about.
Nobody can.
I can't tell you.
But anyway, Destiny. The one thing I absolutely loved about Destiny 1, which I still love in most of those games, is the multiplayer aspect of cooperative. The strikes I loved, which were essentially, it was like mini versions of a raid. You start here, you fight your way through a bunch of areas, you maybe do a thing here or there, and then you fight a big bad boss. Loved it. I absolutely love the strikes. Those were fun.
I just hated doing the same 6 of them.
Well, yeah.
It's literally
every
just-
expansion brought out like another 2 or 3. But
It was basically just parts of like the story that you had to play through. It was it was segmented off areas of the story missions.
Yeah.
Just with modifiers and slightly different enemies.
And
It was just stupid. It was
like the
bad.
raids I never cared for because you never actually fought a boss. and I think we've talked about this before in Destiny, is the fact that the raid bosses, quote unquote,
just get some gimmick to beat him.
it was a gimmick, like Atheon, the very first guy in the Vault of Glass.
I don't remember what his
3
name
of
was.
your guys, so he'll teleport 3 away. You have to grab this ball of light and make it out. Well, the whole world is shrouding in around him, like their sight.
Yeah.
So you need these 3 people on the outside to hold a position, so they're fighting off people to keep the light out. So you had like a certain amount of time, otherwise your party wiped, which was the biggest theme of any of the raids. Was if you don't do this, your whole team's dead, regardless. Your whole team dies. You have to start over.
Oy.
Irritating as fuck.
Yeah.
I
Sounds
hate
like
the
it.
idea of handicapping a team by if one person doesn't complete this, your team wipes. And that always pissed me off. Which is what turned me off to most of the raid. But Atheon, once you got the 3 out, you had to stay in the middle, and you were in a bubble, you shoot at him for a little bit, and then the bubble fades, and then he kills you. Or he'll kill you. You have to run away. So it's like you have these small snippets of a time to shoot at him before the bubble closes, and he's stationary on this little platform, and that's it. What was his name? Urzok, something, the second guy from The Dark Below. It was the same kind of thing. He could only be damaged by a particular sword that the Swordbringers had, or the Sword Keepers. Only one person can hit him. The other 5... Basically, from my experience, you sat in a corner vestibule, everyone unloaded a Yallarhorn to drop his shield, the sword guy goes in there and smacks him around, and then runs away. And that was it. That's the boss of the raid. That's not fun.
No,
like,
that's stupid.
You're not fighting anything.
That's pointless.
One guy's going in to smack him around a little bit to retreat and rinse and repeat over and over. And that was as far as I ever did the
that's
raid.
the other even Borderlands is bad for too with their raid bosses. There's a difference between making something like challenging and then making a bullet sponge.
Yes.
Because there's a fine line between the two, but when it's one of those things where it's like you purposely extend a fight to be a half hour long or more, it's not fun at that point.
Or so powerful you can't survive.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching you fight Cromarax in the first Borderlands.
All the invincible bosses in Borderlands.
You literally glitch the game, and
It was the only way to beat him. Was to go sit in that little corner.
You sit in a corner where he can't hit you, and you just shoot at him.
Oh, jeez.
It took forever, and you could take some damage. If you were careless, you could die. But, I remember seeing that, and I remember calling you a little bitch.
Yeah.
I said, go fight him like a fucking man. You're like, I literally can't.
Yeah.
The only sponge I've ever liked is tofu.
You're an idiot. Why are you
There's lots.
Literally a
There's lots of tofus in the remake.
Is there?
Yeah, there's multiple ones. He has different loadouts for different ones.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But, at that point, that's not fun.
Yeah.
No.
And
if you have to literally exploit something in the game in order to beat a boss, something is wrong with that boss, or something is wrong with that battle. You should never have to exploit anything in order to beat somebody.
And you should never take away control and freedom from your player.
Yeah.
That's a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had that. There was a point in Nier Automata that there's this segment that happens and it was the worst part of the entire fucking game. So basically, your character basically at one point, due to plot stuff that happens, gets crippled. So you're going through and you'll be running just fine, then all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden your character will be like, ugh, and start stumbling around for a little while. Well, guess what? There's still enemies around shooting you, but I can't jump, I can't dodge, I can't attack. And then all of a sudden your character will be like, okay, I can start moving again, walk a little bit further, and boom, it happens again. It's like,
oh, that's irritating.
why? What is the point of this?
Yeah.
Why don't you just make it a cinematic and have me walk across the fucking field?
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that would have happened in Metal Gear.
Well, and the worst part is there's basically this percentage timer where I actually almost got stun locked because of these floating enemies that shoot you, that I couldn't progress, because if it hits 100%, you lose. Game over. And I was going, and it got to the point where these enemies started, hitting me, but thankfully they ended up bumping, the enemy pushed me forward past what basically is an invisible barrier where the enemies just won't go anywhere, they'll just run away. And that's the only reason I didn't die. I was like, that's bad. You should not do that to your player.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'll wrap Destiny up with my favorite part of the game by far was Prison of Elders. It was an expansion that came with the Reef, where it was kind of an arena. There's a main hub, and you fight various bosses until there's one big boss. And that, to me, was probably the highlight of the game for me, because I did it with my brother Adam and my friend Joe.
It was just a horde mode or a wave mode.
Kind of, yeah. But I liked the idea of the bosses in it. You know, it was a cool idea. And I remember the big bad boss at that time was Skolas, because it was, one of the story missions was House of Wolves. One of the Archons, the big bad of the Fallen, he's coming, he wants to take over the light, all this bullshit. You know, usual bad guy fare. Well, instead of flat out killing him in the expansion, they imprison him, which they put him in the Prison of Elders. So he's your final boss in the Prison of Elders. And I remember the fight's fucking tough, but you have so much cooperation aspect of, you know, I remember because I was using the Sunsinger. His ability in that one was he could revive from death with boosted abilities and
Phoenix
stuff.
ability.
Yeah, it was cool as shit. Like, I loved the Warlock because he got such cool moves. And that was the one I loved. I loved the Sunsinger. And so basically, you would have one guy on your team as the Sunsinger, so if everybody wipes, the Sunsinger comes back from the ashes and can go around and revive everybody. Because they had, like, the way it worked was if you died, you could not be revived automatically. You had to wait 60 seconds. Which, when you're getting fucked by everything, 60 seconds feels like fucking forever.
Oh, it feels like a lifetime.
And Prison of Elders, didn't, if you died and respawned, you got locked out till the end of the wave?
Some did.
Because like you got spawned up in the watching booth.
Yeah.
You had to just stand there and wait.
So it's like you had to survive. And there was a lot of teamwork in it. And that's what I love about those games, is the teamwork. To me, where Destiny falls short is PvP. And they started to push that real heavily in Destiny 2. Yeah. And I absolutely hated it.
That's what I've always been opposed to, and what I've always loved about games is I hate PvP.
Absolutely.
I absolutely cannot stand it, because there's always going to be those people who just mop the floor with you and completely destroy, like, the fun of the game.
I'd phrase it a little bit differently. I hate online PvP.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That's it. Yes.
I don't mind doing, like, old school Halo LAN party PvP.
Oh, yeah. No. Playing other people and stuff like, yes, that's fine.
Technically,
yes,
Pokemon
I'm talking about,
PvP, I love doing that.
Yes, I'm talking about online PvP. But games where you have to play as a group unit working together for one single goal, I absolutely love that.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love it. So much more than just like a PvP. Is teamwork, working together to try to...
It sucks, like, games like Operation Raccoon City flopped.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it was.
Well, and even though this isn't a looter-shooter, but one game that I honestly remember playing a shitload of with friends, but also online with other people as well, too, was the Uncharted games. Uncharted 2 had a survival mode where you did 10 waves of... It was basically horde mode, where it's like you had 10 waves of guys coming in.
Progressing harder.
Yeah, and it was survival. You just had to survive. You had to work together as a unit, because the guys kept getting harder and harder as they would come in. And I just had so much fun with that, playing as a team to try to overcome this thing, instead of having to play like a sudden death or some kind of PvP where it's like
control.
It's you versus other people. Like, no, I don't like that.
I believe they call that mode zombies, because Call of Duty
was
had
the first
that
one
mode
to do
of
it.
zombies,
Well,
which pretty much kind of... You never really heard too much about it, but once that zombies thing came out, you saw a lot of
survival mode.
In survival mode.
Trying to think.
Because that's the one I remember the most of hearing.
Was Call of Duty Zombies.
Call of Duty Zombies.
Well, and it's like, 'cause I remember, like wave-based stuff in other games prior to that. So for me, Zombies was just more of the same.
It was like what this did. It pushed it into prominence, because then all of a sudden you started seeing a lot of that pushed into games, which I suppose essentially is what that Prison of Elders is. It's zombies, but it's more cordoned off.
Well, and I suppose one key difference with Zombies is, like, as you're playing it, like, you can board up the windows so that it
Yeah.
slows them down. You can spend points to get different guns or open paths.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't in Prison of Elders.
No.
So,
But it was neat, and I really, really liked that aspect of it. Destiny 2, played the base game.
that's what I'll
Literally
do.
didn't do the expansion.
I bought the base game and then was just like, I'm done.
Adored the story to it. I loved the thought of Gaul taking the light from you. I thought it was genius just because I liked the Taken,
Yeah.
which was the last expansion I played of Destiny 1. The Taken I thought were amazing, where it was essentially like a negative version of the light, where he's reviving people because you weren't. Normally, it's like you fight a specific race. A specific race is the bad guy. This one, he took from all races. And
nice.
the Taken King took from everybody. So it's like all these familiar enemies you were fighting had different weak points. They fought differently. They functioned differently. It was fascinating.
And they looked cool.
And they looked
'Cause
badass.
They were like black, and it was like looking into space with like a green outline.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It looked
and
really cool.
Yeah.
Their
that's
like
cool.
their vision was like the white circle. It was really cool. The Taken King, I thought, really invigorated my love for the game. Because like House of Wolves was okay, and the Dark Below was all right, but the Taken kind of was just like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Like this game got dark real quick.
Although, I got one massive gripe with Destiny, and it's not gameplay wise or anything like that.
What is it? What is it?
So, according to the lore, the Vex,
Vex, yes.
they are time traveling fucking machines that can exist in any period of time simultaneously. How the fuck do you lose when you're that powerful?
You manipulate time.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that point, yeah, you have to, and
And it's not just I exist in this moment. It's I exist in this spot for thousands of years simultaneously.
Yeah.
How am I losing a fight?
Yeah. And that's kind of the issue that like storytellers, like, you don't ever get into that. Like, you can't make somebody so incredibly powerful, because then like how do you
lose?
How do you
Well, look
how
at
do
the
you stop
problem they
that?
have with Superman with DC Comics. How often do they have to either like write him holding back or write him having some MacGuffin to where it reduces his power
Yeah,
or
but
he
at
can't
least
do something?
but at least he's got like kryptonite, which is actually where that term came from. Like,
Yeah.
my kryptonite
Yeah.
is this. It was.
But
Superman.
it's still
Even Kryptonite's lame, because then why wouldn't every bad guy just be like,
it's a rare.
I'm gonna...
It's
Apparently not rare enough that fucking Batman had fucking what's-his-face shoot him with kryptonite arrows to beat him.
because Superman gave all the stuff he had to Batman.
Kryptonite's such a stupid thing.
But it's
You're such a stupid thing.
You don't even like DC.
No, I
he
do like
does.
DC. Of course I do.
You said you were more of a Marvel man.
I am more of a Marvel man, but I still read DC
it's
titles
just,
and stuff.
but like especially when. Which one was it that when you went through all like the Vex like time portals? Was that two?
That was Atheon.
Was that 2? Or was it the first one?
That was the first one.
Because Osiris, that's the first one, right?
Oh no, that's the second one where it's the shattered dimensions thing where it's Osiris.
You're going through all these different like time periods with the Vex technology, and it's like they're able to do all of this. How are they losing to anything?
Most of it, I see.
Plot bullshit is how they're losing.
Plot
but
bullshit, yeah. But it was something down to like because you keep taking out their minds because the Vex are soulless,
They're a hive mind.
It's a hive mind.
Oh,
so you take out
gotcha.
the hive mind, they lose.
Yeah.
But again, comes down to how do they lose? Because the hive mind can only do so much.
But it's okay. But I exist everywhere and anywhere, and I can see the future, like literally see the future of what's going to happen. I could just be like, no, we're moving this wall.
Traveler?
We just moved this wall, and now all of a sudden you lose. You can't do anything.
Because the Traveler is also all-knowing?
Except for he's not, because he got his ass kicked.
The Traveler... That is my biggest issue with Destiny story-wise, is the Traveler makes no sense. He's dead, but still has influence over everything. He's Force Ghost! It's dumb. The story of Destiny is there's the Traveler, he's the source of all light, kills himself to stop the darkness, but also spawns off, he essentially shatters himself into the ghosts, which then bequeath the light into people so you can revive. They even flat out say they can rebuild people. How do humans lose? You are literally infinite life.
Yeah, you're immortal at that point.
Yeah.
I kill you, your ghost revives you, you're done. Like,
Well, except for if the ghost dies, you die too.
But nothing can kill the ghost because nothing can take the light.
No, the ghosts can die. That's why the dead ghosts that you have to find.
Only if the light's taken from them.
But like, it's still possible for them to die. Which means so as soon as you find a way, you interrupt the light, because then...
which is why I liked Gaul's aspect of it, is the fact that he's trying to siphon the light away from human beings and transfer it into...
himself.
Into the... What the fuck are they called? The Cabal. He's trying to essentially take the light to become the next chosen.
Yeah.
Which was awesome, and I loved his iteration.
He realizes you're a bunch of bitches and you don't deserve it.
Which is why when he actually gets the light... He's fucking awesome. I love their iteration of the... Yeah, I love the iteration of the light with the Cabal. It was cool as fuck.
Yeah,
but, like...
To be honest,
they wrote themselves in a corner.
Partway through Destiny, it's just they designed certain things and they were just like, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Well, just throw pasta at the wall and see what sticks.
Well, and then you write yourself into a corner and then you need a back door, but the back door answer is never going to be as good as like a well thought out natural ending. It's always going to seem like a quick escape because that's all you could really do.
Well, and because they plan on doing an ongoing franchise,
how do you
can't really end things anyway. You can't
see, but that's you can create an ending and then just start anew with a new game. So like Destiny 1 could have ended with the Taken.
Yeah, I suppose.
Fast forward in time to Destiny 2, where enough chunk of time has elapsed to where now things have evolved. Start a new saga. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
No.
Which is unfortunate. I don't know if there's going to be a Destiny 3.
Or even if they want to do something like that, it's like take the story from number 1, go so far off into the future.
Story you logically do
in number 2, and then if you don't know where to go forward or something like that, then connect the dots between 1 and 2 is like number 3 or something like that. I mean, that's what Resident Evil did. I mean, video games and stories have been doing that for forever.
Yeah,
I'd rather just them do. We have this story. Encapsulate it. It's done.
Kind of like BioShock Infinite.
And now just, okay, we're done with this. Go over to a entire new universe and just...
Hell, that's...
Look at what Marvel does with the alternate timelines. DC does too.
Honestly, that's what Silent Hill did. I mean, it's an anthology series. There's actually the only game that had a direct sequel was 1 and 3, and then to a lesser degree, Origins was the Origin to 1.
Yeah.
But everything else is loosely based on one another, and it's their own standalone stories.
Yeah. Which BioShock Infinite's the perfect example of how time travel functions great.
Yeah.
You literally could just throw it anywhere because it's infinite timelines.
Yep. Yeah. BioShock. Infinite. I loved Infinite.
Yeah.
Especially the scene where you're walking and you're seeing all the other Yus and all the other Elizabeths in the infinite lighthouses in the infinite ocean.
But the only problem you run into with that kind of thing is that then nothing means nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it meant something for that world.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still then it comes off to where nothing you do matters. Because there's an infinite you somewhere, or there's another you somewhere else where it did work. It's just, that's where time travel kind of fucks up, is the fact that it kind of deludes the idea of permanence.
It deludes the idea of consequence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why, even with, Destiny, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So it's, that's kind of where Destiny fell off for me, is the storytelling got kind of shitty, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on one of the podcasts, is I tried to get back into it. I really did. It's been a few years. It's been a few expansions. Forsaken and Shadowkeep came out, and it looked fascinating because they broke off from Activision, which was pretty much holding them back, so they say. Well, Destiny 2 is now free to play. The first 2 expansions are free, which I don't know how GameStop is even selling copies of Destiny 2 because you can buy it for free. Why are you still selling copies of Destiny 2?
Because they're stuck with
idiots.
Doesn't make any sense.
Idiots will still buy it.
At that point, you might as well just scrap all your copies.
Yeah.
Because honestly, once this server dies, what's the point? Well, that's a lot of these, though. But anyway, so Destiny 2 is free to play. The stories are of no consequence. You don't even have to do the story. I fell off. I said, well, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
At least with Destiny 1, you had to play the story. Destiny 2, you had to play the story. Well, now that I really have no reason to, it just kind of feels like, what's the point? It just seems dumb to me.
Yeah.
So at that point, I dipped my big toe back into Destiny 2, and I was just like, because I wanted to play the expansions, I feel no need to. So it's like,
it's sad when you get to that point, you realize like
this means nothing.
Yeah, I just don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah,
like I'm not interested where the story's gonna go because there's no story to speak of.
The equipment I get from the story is pointless because it runs into the same, like we had kind of briefly mentioned, is every expansion outdoes the others. So even the exotics you got from previous are all capped.
They mean nothing.
They mean nothing.
Yeah.
It forces you to get the exotics. It forces you to buy the expansions because you're not going to be powerful enough to deal with what's coming. So it's just Destiny. If Destiny 3 ever came out, I would look into it. I would probably get it because I love the universe, I love the idea of it, and I hope they evolve.
To be honest, I want them to take Destiny and actually like fully flesh out the story and just do a single player narrative focused game.
Yeah, a single player campaign would be great.
No, not single player campaign, just a flat out single player game. No PvP aspect, no co-op, nothing. Just take their lore, make a good game based around the lore, and do that.
Kind of like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a Mass Effect style. Well,
but
not style.
Keep the gunplay and stuff that Destiny already has, and
yeah, I could see that. So from there, obviously, I played Destiny 2 for maybe like less than a few hours, and I said I can't do this. So I jumped into a game that I mentioned in the Star Wars podcast, Anthem. I absolutely fucking adored Anthem. I love the idea of it. I love the aspect of it. I love the designs of it. It was very, very fun.
It suffers from the same issue that Destiny did originally. There's no end game content.
No. And even there's like maybe a couple of raids here and there, they call them. Strongholds, I think, in that game.
Yeah.
There were some strikes, sort of, kind of.
And you have all like the random spawning missions in free play, but
But it kind of fell victim to this, like you said. I beat the game, but now I'm kind of like, well,
what do I do now?
Now what do I do? Because I want to say they're working on an expansion.
Well,
because they left it open ended.
Well, they're also doing the massive overhaul this year. I think in April is when that comes out.
It caught a lot of flack,
which it didn't deserve.
When Anthem came out,
didn't deserve.
No, not at all.
Well, and it was just because word of mouth spread because of like reviewers and like these fucking influencers that, well, this game's garbage. Therefore, all my followers hive mind it and this game is garbage, and everyone started not buying it, it was just like, no, you didn't play the game, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Stop talking like you know what you're talking about.
And it played very well. Like it's essentially like we had mentioned. It's like mech suits. Yeah, and every suit functions different. Every suit feels unique. You get access to all 4 of them, so it's not like you have to choose a class like you do in Destiny or ones like those. So it's like it was fun to play. Like every suit felt different. It was hell of a lot of fun. Gorgeous game. There was hardly any load time from what I remember.
Just loading into the missions. And that was about it.
Yeah, but otherwise the whole world was open. The flying around felt great. That was where I thought it was going to fall. Was like
going
sometimes
in from ground to flight. Yeah, the games tend to stutter.
I thought that was going to be a stumbling block, and it really didn't.
No.
Even like the fact of the equipment that you got felt cool. Like there were assault rifles, but there were 3 different kinds of assault rifles: a heavier hitting one and a faster one. So it's like you could kind of cater to your play style. You know, if you need something that hits a little heavier, you chose a heavier one. Chose a shotgun. It was cool as shit. So I beat that one. I don't know what else to say about Anthem.
It just, like I said, it suffered from, it needs more. Yeah. They're planning on doing this major overhaul that will also be like an expansion pack coming to at some point. So, I mean, we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah. I mean, the bulk of our time now has been spent on Borderlands and Destiny because those 2 have been the longest running.
Yeah.
Another great looter shooter that I remember hearing about and watched a bit of was The Division. It's Tom Clancy, right?
Well,
Division?
Yeah.
Technically, it's got his name on it, but it has nothing to do with any of his works.
Okay.
I mean, it's like people slapping Tolkien's name on stuff that he never wrote. It's based on stuff like aspects of some of his works,
Or else maybe like at some point he had an idea for something and they just completely ran with something completely
Clancy's
different.
Dead.
Well, no, but
I mean,
actually, like in the case of J.R.R. Tolkien, there was actually
his
something.
manuscripts,
There was
yeah.
actually like a manuscript that his son had published like 4 years after his death or something like that. So I mean, they could have. Tom Clancy may have had like, oh, I have this idea for a story that I have no intention of writing. He filed it away. Somebody found it, and they're like,
I can do something.
well, here's
with this.
something with this, but I'm going to spin it, and it's like the end result is so far different from the story, but they can still say they go to the estate of Tom Clancy and say, hey, this was the inspiration for this story was based off of this thing. Can we?
I think Ubisoft owns the right to the name Tom Clancy.
Yeah, can we?
They can just put Tom Clancy on anything they want.
Then they just put Tom Clancy's name attached to it. It's like, yeah, Tom Clancy's The Division, even though it's a completely different story.
Because the Ghost Recon games are Tom Clancy games, I think, as well.
They were, yeah.
Wasn't
Wildlands and Breakpoint both are.
yeah.
So
Rainbow Six.
Why does Splinter Cell come to my head? But I don't.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell. I don't think that was not
Rainbow
Tom Clancy.
Six was what I was thinking of. Yes.
I literally just said Rainbow
yes,
Six.
that's what I was thinking of, not Splinter Cell. But anyway, The Division, I played 15 minutes, immediately got killed, so I was like, well, that's it for that for right now.
I hate you.
And by the way, yes, it is a Tom Clancy.
Yeah!
Splinter Cell is?
Yeah.
Suck
Oh.
it! Suck it, you some bitch! Eat that humble pie house and taste, motherfucker!
There's the original box.
Tastes fruity. That's the original box.
Yeah.
Let me see. Splinter Cell. Oh, yeah, Tom Clancy's in
It's
big.
In bones!
Right on the side.
That's how I do of
The
it.
entire length of the box. Okay.
You might be thinking Siphon Filter.
Well, and it's funny because
Yeah.
I actually like games like that. Rainbow
Dinosaurs,
Six,
too.
Splinter Cell. All of those games, I've never had any interest in whatsoever.
I never did either, because I'm not really into, like, Army this.
Yeah.
Ooh, Navy. Ooh, some fucking
Or it's
covert
like
recon shit.
World War I, World War II
I'm
stuff. Like,
definitely-
I don't care for that
No,
stuff.
and I'm not either, which is why The Division kind of turned me off. I never knew what it was. Which
Yeah,
I
that's-
played it a little bit, got my ass handed to me because I was coming off the Anthem high, and I was playing like I was Anthem. The Colossus. I can
Can't.
take so much damage.
Can't.
Nope.
No, it's
Definitely got my ass handed to
It's
me.
more of a tactical shooter.
Yeah, which I'm not used to. So it's like maybe I'll go back to
I
Division.
love the story for Division.
I like the idea of it because I love the opening cinematic, the contagion, and all this shit.
They
killing
basically have a
everybody.
modified version of like smallpox, I think it is.
Yeah.
Put it on money, and then on Black Friday they basically started distributing the money around shopping malls.
So all these people start falling
So
sick
all
and
these
dying.
people are getting infected money. It's touching other money, infecting that money,
Oh, that's the story?
and it
Of the
spreads.
Division.
It
Yeah.
spreads
Oh,
like
okay.
wildfire.
Oh, wow.
Like New York gets quarantined. Like all of New York City is quarantined.
Kind of reminds me of like Dead Rising.
Well, honestly, like if you think about that, that's like insanely
ingenious.
like worrisome because
It's a real considered plot.
because if like
It-
you have some kind of tainted money and you put that into circulation, like that's gonna touch and get like all over.
Not
I
to
mean-
mention the people that touch their hands and don't
Yeah.
wash their hands and then do stuff and then touch other people and so basically
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, it is.
It
a scary
spreads like wildfire. They seal off the city and they activate the Division agents who are basically
It's like sleeper agents.
they're
kind of.
sleeper agents that don't work for the government until they get activated, and then when they're activated they only respond directly to the president.
thought. Oh, gotcha.
And they have authority to do
whatever.
anything. They have carte blanche.
And
They can go in and just be like, "Oh, this person's causing a problem." Bang.
And
They're
so
not a problem
are
no
anymore.
repercussions.
Are you a part of the Division team?
You're an
Yes.
agent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You get activated on your way in, and it kind of kicks
It
off. from
snowballs
there.
from there.
Yeah.
And then the second one follows
It's DC,
it,
right?
it takes place in like they didn't contain the virus, it spread to other places, and the second one takes place in DC.
Oh, okay.
And that's the cool thing is the first one takes place in New York in the middle of the winter.
Oh, nice.
So
it's
it was Black Friday and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So 2, it's like spring. So you're out and there's like grass and all this shit. So it's much more like summertime.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Did they do it? They did a third one, right?
No.
Oh no.
It's only 2 so
I would
far.
say there's probably.
Oh, I guarantee you.
I picked up 2 the other day, Division 2. It was like $11 new. I'm like, sure.
Really?
All right.
I
why
did.
not?
Okay, well, I can play that one. Yeah.
But
I do have the first one still too.
yeah,
So.
I have to get more acquainted with it. I do want to play it because I'm on a kick right now of those types of games.
Mm-hmm.
Because Destiny let me down so hard, and
sure.
I'm like I said, riding that Anthem high. So my PS3's been, or my PS4 has been kind of consumed with those types of games, and and I love them. Like they hold a certain fondness in my, or I hold a fondness in my heart for them because I like that cooperative aspect, and I kind of like the RPG element with a shooter aspect. I don't know, like it's the only way I can get into like shooters is if it has that kind of that RPG element.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, so the Division I plan on getting into. Damn it, I thought of another looter shooter and I immediately forgot about it.
What about Horizon? Is that a looter shooter?
Not really.
No?
That's more of like Uncharted and Star Zelda.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Kind of like Breath of the Wild.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Can you think of another?
Another looter.
Son of a bitch. We talked about Mass Effect a little bit. I liked Mass Effect 1 because it was like KOTOR.
Oh well, the other looter shooter I've been playing is Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a looter shooter.
So like Ghost Recon Wildlands, it was a. You're basically
Far Cry?
No, not really.
Those weren't looter shooters, kind of.
No, because that one was more of you buy a gun and then you can upgrade it type thing.
Oh, okay.
But like Wildlands was interesting because it wasn't quite. It started going towards looter shooter, but it was still based on the I got this gun, now this is the gun, and each gun had set damage. Breakpoint introduced a gear score system, which that's the only aspect of it I fucking hate.
Yeah, gear score systems I've found have kind of taken over this genre.
Well, yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like
because Borderlands 3 kicked off.
Well, and
having gear score.
The problem with it is like if you're not within a certain range of gear score of enemies, you're basically they do a lot more to you, and your shots do nothing to them.
Right.
Well, a gear score 1 of like say an M4 and a gear score 200 M4 literally have the same damage.
That's weird.
They don't, like, the damage doesn't go up or anything. It just increases your gear score so that it doesn't give you penalties to fighting stuff.
That's really bizarre.
It's fucking, that's the worst part of it. And it's like I love the customization in it. The environment you're in is really fun. The story is pretty interesting. Because it's basically this, you meet a guy in Wildlands who's he's another ghost agent like you are, or I don't know what, I think you're ghosts. But like, he's another agent like you, like Navy SEAL type agent like you, and he just basically gets fed up with the way stuff is happening. He's sick of seeing like his brothers and sisters in arms that do the stuff he does dying needlessly for shit. So he says, fuck this, and he takes over this high-tech island with a band of his own mercenaries. So, and they basically start holding like other governments and stuff hostage because he doesn't want to keep seeing the same shit happening. So he's doing the wrong stuff for the good for a good reason.
Yeah.
Just the way he's doing it is just fucking terrible.
So it almost makes you feel bad what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going in and you have to fight someone who's been like a brother in arms, like someone that's bled when fought by your side, and like you're going through and you're basically having to take him and his people out.
Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of that in some games where it's like you fight alongside actually Soul Sacrifice with Magusar.
Yeah,
you fought alongside him for so long, and now he's the big bad guy because something fucked him. Yeah, you know. So now it's like you're almost like shit.
Yeah,
you feel that sense of regret that you're having to take down your friend, which I always like that kind of stuff. That whole mind fuckery. Or you feel bad. Because, as stupid as it sounds, like Arc Rise Fantasia for the Wii, that RPG where you're like, your friends your like best friend growing up, that girl
becomes your rival.
becomes your like your enemy because she's believes in a different god than you do at one point. She's like the Jesus fucking
They're
Christ.
the opposite.
I can't remember. Well, there's two schools of thought.
Yeah, I don't.
There is the creation aspect and then the destruction aspect. I think you're doing I forget the story to it. But essentially, it's like a race. Not really, but in story-wise, it's a race to claim favor for certain gods. And, like, you're competing with your friend and your best friend.
Yeah.
Because he becomes her protector, you become the protector of some fucking girl that you just met, and it gets really bizarre. But I always loved that, because you almost felt bad fighting him, you know?
Because...
No Man's Sky.
No,
Do you remember when
it's
that...
not a looter shooter.
Are you sure?
No, that's more of like a Minecraft.
I thought No Man's Sky, and that was one that was like...
That was a big controversy.
It wasn't even a controversy. It's the fact that it was...
Oh yeah, there was a lot of
No Man's
stigma
Sky
about
is
that.
the space one with infinite planets.
It was on par with how bad's like Fallout 76.
That's what I meant. Is like it promised the world and it's underdelivered like in every possible way.
Like they really didn't. See, that's one that's weird. They didn't really promise the world. He said the guy basically said we have certain milestones and things we want to try to achieve, not that we will achieve.
It wasn't like Fable.
Oh, and that was the last one.
You can do all this stuff.
No,
you can't.
That's more of Minecraft in space, but less building.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I know. No Man's Sky was a big one that was talked about, and then when it came out, people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, it's.
I thought there was like shooter aspects to it.
There are a few like enemies you can like fight, but that's not the point of the game.
I just remember seeing ads all over the place for that game, like No Man's Sky. Like it was supposed to be like the next big thing, and it literally like it came and it went. It
fizzled out like Pogs, baby.
Literally, I don't even think it had the fucking staying power that Pogs did.
No, yeah, I remember that too, and they did some big update to it, and it expanded quite a bit on it.
But it never got
kind of like
but it never got back its like it never got back that title where it was supposed to be like the next big thing.
Because I remember that too. There was a big tout about No Man's Sky.
It's the next big thing. Yep.
You're the first person to claim this planet. You can name it whatever the fuck you want. Shitty mommy poopy pants planet. Like you can name it whatever the fuck.
That was part of the problem.
Well, yeah, of course. When you get to the general masses, of course they're gonna fuck it up. You can't give people anything.
No, you can't.
Which is where a lot of my negative experiences of games of this type falls into is the fact that the human element ruins everything. If you're not playing with people you know, people online generally tend to be total dicks. Which is why Call of Duty, like, I could never get into it anyway because of just the aesthetic of it, and I'm not a World War I, World War II, I'm not a big gun guy, so, like, I don't really get into that kind of shit, but Lord Almighty, I would never want to play with human people.
No.
Like, they are just some of the worst.
I'm not gonna lie, the only thing that I like about, like, those kinds of games is watching the videos on YouTube of them, like, exploding while they're playing. Like, what I can't even remember what they're called, but it's like
the rage quits.
Yeah, rage quits. Yep. Yeah, rage quits.
But even those get stale after a while.
Oh, yeah,
wonder how much of those are actually staged.
Absolutely. Oh, no, some of them, like, the people were, like, legitimately terrified, like, because they were playing with, like, another person. Yeah. And they're just like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, there's one kid who just, like, looks like he's like, hyperventilating, and then he just fucking breaks the TV. And I'm just like, oh my god. And this other person is, like, they're yelling at him, and then the second he starts attacking the TV, he's just like, what are you doing? It's like, you can tell that it's like so legit, like, oh my god, like you took your anger to a whole new level. Like, stop. Please stop.
Yeah, it's Titanfall, I remember, was a big one that was supposed to be really cool. My younger brother played Titanfall.
Well, Titanfall is more
super good concept. I really like
Call of Duty with mechs and stuff like that.
But it was because it was the sci-fi part. I kind of wanted to get into it. But when I heard Titanfall 1 was just
PvP.
called PvP.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Titanfall 2, I hear, is not.
Well, when it was free on
Yeah,
PlayStation
I downloaded
Plus,
it. I did.
I downloaded it, but I played through the story campaign. It was fun. I really wish it was longer.
Yeah, I believe it. But the idea of it seemed really fucking cool to me. It's like, it kind of seemed like Anthem.
Yeah.
Where it's you're a pilot, you pilot mechs, you fight shit. Cool, fucking love it.
Yeah.
You know, but then when I heard it was like Call of Duty, I was like, nope, because I have to play with people, and people ruin experiences.
Yeah.
So it's like, unless I'm playing with people I know,
It's just not fun.
it's just not
Yeah.
fun. You know, just like Overwatch. I love the concept. I love a lot of the characters, like their designs and the aspect of it and the different abilities. It seems really fucking cool, you know? But the second I hear it's squad-based PvP,
Yeah.
man, fuck this.
No.
But like the idea of the different roles, you have medics, you have, you know, the tanks and
Supposedly
berserkers and
supposedly the second one will be fixing that, where it'll have an entirely PvE.
yeah.
Where it's you in a group versus like enemies.
Then I'll definitely get into it because I know our good friend Kazi is huge into Overwatch, or they love it, and I would love to get into that game. I really would. I can't play people. I can't do it. I can't do it, Jimmy. I can't do it. But like it just, and that's one too where it's like there's so many games like. There was another one that's PvP. I think it's called Spellbreak.
Yeah, it's that wizard one.
It's that wizard one we
really
looked
wanted
into.
that one, and then
Yeah, but again, it's PvP. Terrible, hate it.
yeah,
So it's
like a PUBG type game.
yeah,
Unfortunately, but you're wizards.
and I can't get into that kind of shit. So it's like there are certain genres that I'm so interested in and I want to do, but god damn it, I don't have the dedication or the reflexes to pull off PvP. It's just not.
I don't
Yeah,
either. I suck. I suck at it.
Yeah.
No,
I know my place, and it's not with that genre.
Well, it's not just that. It's like far too many of the people that play those games take it so fucking serious that
Oh yeah.
that like. As a new person just learning, if you fuck up, guess what?
It's
They berate
apparently-
you.
Yeah,
Because for apparently
You should just kill yourself, faggot.
Apparently,
Yeah, it's,
Thanks. Like the guy who told me
That's-
that in
that's the
Destiny.
message you got.
That's the literal message I got in Destiny 1 PvP.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You suck at games. You should just kill yourself, faggot. I'm like, well, guess I'm done with PvP for a while.
Yeah, holy cow. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, and that's the one thing that I cannot stand is when people play the games and it's no longer them playing a game, it's them, like, that's their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, and
the
see, that's like-
gatekeeping. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
And I
that's my
can't
biggest problem. Is
stand
I play games to have fun.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
relax. I don't play games to stress out or take it so fucking serious.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing taking it serious, I suppose, if like you're a competitive level where you're winning money. All right, taking it serious makes sense.
Go for it.
But if you're just playing online,
In a casual environment,
fuck off. It's
Yeah.
go
just
screw yourself.
Yeah.
it's just not supposed to be that way.
That's why some of those games I know have a ranking system where you play with people of your rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, kind of like what was that fighting? Blaze Blue did that, didn't it? I thought.
Yeah.
Didn't
Nah,
Blaze Blue
in the beginning.
In the beginning,
it did because
But
then
then
Once the player base dwindled, they didn't
yeah,
have a choice.
exactly. They didn't have a choice because I was facing people who were like obviously like 10 times better than me or higher levels. I could still beat them here and there, but it's like it was nothing like
right.
what it was.
That's why that'd be the only way I could be able to get into that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, if you get put with other people of your similar level.
Yeah, but then you have those people that I suppose could just create a new account.
Well,
and
then
now
you have-
I'm a
you have the
fucking
people that
champ
do-
dominating the
people
lower
have-
ranks.
You have people that do it one of two ways. That one, yeah, they create a new account so that they can be playing at the lower levels with that account. Or two, do it like Destiny, where they would manipulate the light level by equipping a whole bunch of a couple like lower level like pieces of armor, but then still have super powerful weapons and go against lower level people.
Destiny was really bad in PvP.
That's
the way
where
they balanced
Division has that problem. The first one had it really bad because it had those dark zone
the
areas.
dark zones. Yes, the
Where-
camping was so bad.
Well, there are these areas where basically when you go in there, it's a free for all. There's PvE and PvP all in one area.
Oh god.
But it got to the point where Like, it was supposed to be once you were, like, between certain levels, it would section you off to go, like, doing things, but then once you hit max level, it put everyone in the same thing, and then they're like, okay, so we'll kind of base it based on, like, your gear stuff. Well, people were purposely equipping low-level shit and just destroying brand new people into the area, and then camping at the doors where you can come in.
Oh, just so that their kill ratios would go
Yeah,
up.
well, and not just that, but like in the dark zone,
There's like drops.
If you find loot,
gotcha.
you can't just take the loot and leave. You have to go to these spots, toss up a flare, and wait for a helicopter to show up, tie it onto the helicopter, and get it out. Well, if you died before you tied it to the helicopter, you dropped it, and anyone around you can pick it up and then tie it up.
Which guess what a lot of people did.
So what they would do is they'd roll in groups with these high-powered weapons, wait for a person to flare up, swarm the thing, kill the person, take their loot, put it on the thing, and leave.
It was total bitch move.
And then later on, they made it worse by introducing the ability to cut the shit off the lines.
Why would they do that?
So you could put your stuff on, and you can't run away, because you have to now defend your stuff. Which was one of the worst game design decisions for that.
That just doesn't even sound like a good time.
No.
Again, the human element ruins everything.
Yeah, that's very true.
Good intention. I can see where they were going with the idea.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. Sucks in reality because there's no way to stop people from ruining the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, from people being people. Yeah.
So those are like, that's the only reason I can't get into like a lot of games of that type.
Yeah, no, me either.
Yeah. Give me a team, give me a squad going up against enemies. I could eat that up all day.
A shared enemy that's not like human.
Give me a common enemy.
Yeah.
Even if there was a game that had like multiple squads against a bigger guy, like a raid for multiple squads. That'd be fucking cool.
Well, I suppose there is one exception to like a PvP style game that I could play. Did you ever hear the game Evolve?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Where it's can't remember what they're called, but there's basically lopsided PvP. Where basically, and Predator, the new Predator Hunter Jungle or whatever it's called coming out, where it's basically one player is the powerful enemy that's going and hunting a smaller group of normal people. And
they have to take you out.
And like in Evolve, it's a bunch of normal people versus one person who's playing a giant, basically a kaiju type creature.
Yeah.
And then Predator, it'll be one person's the Predator, the rest are like special forces guys, and then they have one of two ways of winning. They can complete their objectives, or they can kill the Predator.
Friday the 13th did that too.
Yeah, Dead by
somebody
Daylight.
One guy was Jason.
The rest were the camp counselors.
Survive for so long, or escape somehow, or kill Jason.
That's cool.
You had to trigger a couple of different things to open the door so you could escape.
Yeah,
and you were in this big area to run around and hide and do stuff like that. See, the lopsided ones like that I can do because it's still a squad based versus one individual.
Yeah.
So that's where I get the little exception to it.
Yeah, those have always been kind of... I remember seeing the Friday the 13th one. I thought that was kind of an interesting concept, where the rest of the people are the counselors.
Yeah, that's
and you have to take out Jason.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, it's a cool concept, and it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like, he gets some powers and stuff, to help fend off the counselors and shit. And
I did just sort of think of two other games that might sort of qualify under looter shooter. Dead Island and Dying Light.
Dying Light, yeah.
Because Dead Island was, remember, that company's first game, but they no longer have the rights to Dead Island.
Yeah.
So, but
right.
it's you scavenge stuff, you found new weapons, you could improve them and stuff, but it was still you killing stuff, grabbing stuff, and going on.
Yeah.
It's just, it was all zombie based.
I feel like Dying Light kind of fell more towards the Elder Scrolls games. In a weird way, but
sorta, I guess.
Because that one, I feel like there wasn't, at least from what I remember in Dying Light, I don't think there were a whole lot of guns per se.
But
it was definitely more melee and takedowns and sneaking around.
Yeah, they did introduce crossbows, bows, and there are guns, but you tended not to use them.
I remember using the guns was almost detrimental to you because it lured everybody else to you.
Yeah.
which was kind of an interesting concept. It's very few games of that style, like zombie style, where you did not want to use
That's why
guns.
I'm looking forward to the new when Dead Island the 2 or whatever comes out. And
Yeah.
Same with Dying Light 2.
The only part of Dying Light that fell off for me is when nighttime
controls,
fell,
yeah.
and you couldn't kill the.
You can kill him.
I know you could, but it was very unlikely.
Well, it depends until
what the fuck were they called? The super zombies at night.
The tyrants, basically.
God, they were fucking good. They were scary.
That game was. Anytime you got stuck out at night and you weren't near a safe house, your heart would just start going crazy.
These fuckers. I remember you could see them with like the thermal vision. You could see the red hearts. And God, were they scary.
Well, and actually,
they could see light.
They introduced, but they were like negative reaction to UV.
So you had
cool.
you had a flashlight, but they could see your light, so they would come at you. So you had to run around
and
in the
noise
dark.
they came after
it was
you.
very fucking scary.
But I know, like, even for that, there was the PvP mode in that where one person played as like the zombie type shits, and
I don't remember that.
yeah, it got added in one of like the updates.
Oh.
It
I
was
remember.
kinda cool.
I think I played the story, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah,
But
Dying Light,
I
still
really
haven't-
like Dying
I
Light.
haven't finished the following expansion.
Yeah. Dying Light was a lot of fun. I can't. Yeah, I suppose I would.
It's still it straddles between like just being one thing and being the looter shooter type.
Yeah, because it wasn't so much stat based as like
You had the skill,
Borderlands
like,
and
yeah.
stuff.
But you still leveled up and got like the new skills,
Yeah.
the ability to craft new stuff.
Dying Light was cool because you could like climb almost anything.
Yeah, the parkour system.
It was really kind of interesting the way you could.
And they got the grappling hook.
hook. Yeah, it was
So you could
neat.
Spider-Man around. It was
That's awesome.
So you'd be like running and you'd just be like, up, hook a building, pull myself over.
Yeah, crash through a window.
Yeah.
It was really fucking neat.
Or accidentally jump too far into a roof so it collapses and alerts all the zombies around you. So they all start coming towards that area and climbing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of scary.
It was frantic. It was cool as shit.
The zombies actually climb too.
Yeah,
Oh.
some can.
Some of them do. There were the runner
shit.
zombies that were fast as hell.
The zombie types were really fucking cool.
You got, like-
I think you would have
You
liked
got
that
like
one.
those big beefy guys that swing down like rebar clubs and shit like that. And you're like, oh god.
Oh god.
It's definitely no Resident Evil zombies.
No. They're more of like the Dawn of the Dead and like World War Z type zombies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen the World War Z zombies.
Yeah.
Where it's like they'll literally like climb or they'll like. Is that the one where it's like they'll?
They ant pile on top
Yeah, they
of
ant
each
pile
other
on
and
top
they
of each
just-
other to get there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's all I can think of for looter shooters.
I don't know, there's probably other that I can't think of, but
Yeah, it's a great genre, and I'm happy it came about because I absolutely love it.
there is a new game that'll be coming out. I think it's either the end of this year for like PS5 and stuff, or maybe early next year. That's ditching the looter shooter and going to the melee looter. So it's going.
Oh.
So it's going to be like it's Godfall, I think is what it's called.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be like the loot style, like kill 'em, hack and slash, but from the way they're talking about it, it's going to be like an action game. So I'm hoping like Devil May Cry style action, but then a loot based game on top of it.
Huh.
So and like the cinematic trailer they revealed for that looks amazing. So
Oh, that'd be kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd buy a PS5 for it, but
well, PS5 is supposed to be full PS4 backwards compatible.
are you kidding? I heard PS4, 3, 2, and 1.
That's
Yeah,
possible.
I've heard that it's going to be fully backwards compatible with everything.
Well, it's going to guaranteed be backwards compatible with PS4.
Oh, okay.
At that, you know,
If it goes back further than that, that'd be
That's
a
a
bonus.
bonus.
But if it's PS4 and PS5 compatible, I would get rid of my PS4 to upgrade to a PS5.
honestly, I probably would too.
That would probably and
Because
honestly,
then you still have both generations to pull from and play.
Exactly.
Which is I'm okay with.
honestly,
You would probably get a PS5.
I would, because I've gotten to the point to where I no longer even look for PS3 games just for the fact that I don't have the space on my system, and I'm one of those people who it's like I don't know how to pull out the hard drive to put in like a new one and stuff like that, and I don't even want to
and
get
that's
into it.
one of the reasons I like newer systems is you can just USB hard drive.
And it's gotten to the point to where it's like I have literally deleted like system information or like game data for like almost every game that I have ever played on a PS3, and it's still telling me that I have like less than 500 kilobytes, and I'm like I don't know how to bring it down.
Yeah.
And so I will not even like there are games that I want to play on the PS3 that I can't because it can't load the information onto the system anymore. So if it's backwards compatible all the way back to like the PS3 era, then
Like I said,
literally would.
if
I
it's-
would day one. I would buy one.
If it's PS4 and PS5, I'm golden right there. If it does anything like PS3 or earlier,
That's a bonus.
that's
for
the
you.
cherry on top. That'll
Yeah.
make me be like, well, you won anything. What do you want?
I mean,
Yeah.
You want my firstborn? Here it
And
is.
to be perfectly honest, if it's PS5 all the way back to PS1, that might kill the Xbox. Because I mean,
Who knows?
what's the Xbox One started doing is a lot of backwards
Well,
compatibility
except for
with
the problem.
360.
Well, the problem was they did select title
Yeah,
backwards.
Exactly.
they did.
Only the ones Microsoft either had the rights to or could easily. It was one of their their sub studio type things.
Yeah. So it's like, honestly, and at this stage in the game, as far as console wars, what better thing than to already have a built-in library of literally thousands upon thousands of games?
Well, and that's the thing too, is that I think that as far as libraries go, Sony is untouchable. Sony has
True.
their catalog of all the games that they've ever, and like the top games that they've ever produced. I think Sony beats any other
Oh, God,
company.
yeah.
Maybe Nintendo has a lot of good catalog stuff, but
Nintendo can sniff Sony's butt, maybe.
but honestly, Sony I think would have the market like single-handedly if they would go backwards compatible with everything.
Oh, yeah. At
Well,
100% they would.
And although this is kind of like the the selfishness in me, I almost like to a degree I almost hope that they don't go backwards compatible all the way to like PS2 and PS1, because I can guarantee you that
Prices
if
will
they
go
do,
up.
prices are going to go up of PS1 and PS2 games, because if people know that they can then buy old games that they loved on the PS2 and play it on a PS5, yeah, the market's going to just freaking skyrocket.
But, I mean, at that point, you got to figure...
They might also Sony
they
might
probably
also
already-
go, hey, digital download.
Oh yeah, that too.
But
So-
it would be like what the PS3 did with like PS2 games,
Yeah.
or like because they think even PS4 did PS2. It was only certain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, they did some good ones like Suikoden 2.
Well, but then they also did
But-
that with that Russian Star game, that
Yeah.
shooter. So who knows?
But it's one of those things where I have a feeling if it was backwards compatible all the way back, chances are people that are looking for physical copies, they probably already have them because it's
that might
games
be
they like.
That might be too.
I mean, it certainly seemed like a trend of this generation of consoles where it's like, unless there aren't too many people looking backwards because of either graphics, because graphics did not age gracefully in the
No.
PlayStation era,
Yeah, that's true.
Or price.
or price. You know, who wants to shell out $150 or $250 like we did for Rule of Rose?
Rose, yeah.
Generally, people aren't.
No.
So it's like backwards compatibility all the way back to the first PS1. I'm sold. Absolutely. I don't
yeah,
care
me
if that
too.
thing's $800. I'll buy that fucker off the shelf.
It'd be worth it.
It would definitely be worth it because now I have all my systems in one.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as prices for games go physically, they might see a bump just for collectors. But I don't think they would quite skyrocket the way you think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they don't.
I'll definitely hope they won't.
Yeah.
And to be honest, unless Xbox would do that, I can't see them really. Unless Xbox comes up with something new, or Microsoft comes up with something new that the other two aren't, what's the point?
Well, honestly, Sony's already so far ahead.
Yeah.
Anyways, that.
I still
PS4 generation shot them so far beyond the Wii U, Switch, Xbox continuum.
I still remember when they had that ad for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and then the Switch, where it's like on the PS4, like they have like whatever the hot game was at the time. It's like on the Switch, Zelda Breath of the Wild. On the Xbox One, Netflix.
Yeah, I remember that. Because I'll be honest, what's a standout title on the Xbox One?
There is no standout
Gears
title.
of War.
Gears
Halo.
5 for
The Halo,
now.
Yeah.
the Halo franchise is only on Xbox.
I suppose, but
But
it's
Or the
still.
Forza franchise is only on Xbox.
But still, I don't think that the Halo series and the Gears series, I don't think that they've
They're
like
system sellers.
but
Are
not
they?
like
Yes.
I think they're
But you
kind
got
of
you're
yesteryear.
not their target audience.
That's
so
true,
to you, you're
but
not gonna. But to their
Call of
target
Duty,
audience, it is a system seller.
I suppose.
That's the same way. To me, Mario will never be a system seller, but to other people, it is.
I don't know. I don't hear too many people being like, I'm going out to buy an Xbox One for Gears 5.
Because everyone that wanted it already did
Whereas, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I bought a Switch specifically for Breath of the Wild, as did a lot of people. Even with Pokemon, people bought a Switch for the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, when Gears 5 was coming out, I still don't recall hearing much chatter about buying an Xbox One for Gears 5.
The biggest thing I heard was literally just the rebranding. Is that they wanted to change the name from Gears of War to just Gears. And I think 5 was the first one that they did that with.
It's still Gears of War.
Huh?
It's Gears of War, but
they're trying to rebrand it as just Gears. Like Gears 5.
No, they're all... Well, Gears is just what the fandom calls it.
Well, whatever, but they're trying to, like, kind of rebrand it now.
And it's, like you said, the people that bought Gears 5 already had the Xbox. So, I mean, what systems are you selling? They already have the system.
Well, like I said, though, but you're not the target audience, so...
But, I mean, why would you buy a system for literally one game? Like, at least... fucking Paul for Resident Evil 2, which didn't even happen.
No.
But still.
No.
Literally, he was going to have just the Switch for Ultimate Alliance.
No, the Wii U. The Wii U, I got the Wii U just because I want a Mario Maker.
But you also had the Wii library to draw from.
That is true.
The Wii U.
Yeah, but that's not why he bought it.
No.
Well, fortunately, I didn't buy it. I didn't pay for it.
But, I don't know. But I might not be the target audience, but, I mean, there still aren't...
There aren't
landmark.
Although there is also one massive thing that Xbox has that the Sony, like both Switch and PS4, really don't have: crossplay between PC and Xbox.
That is
for all
true.
of their games.
That is true.
That is true.
And
that's very true.
The new thing that Microsoft's been doing: I have an account, I can stream Xbox games to my phone, and they play fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We won't get into that.
No.
I don't give two flying shits about how well people play on their fucking phones.
No, I know.
That is just stupid to me.
Talk to the folks at Blizzard on that one.
No,
it may matter to them, not to us, though.
I'm not talking some shitty phone game. I'm talking streaming, like the full game you own can stream to your phone. You can use an Xbox controller on your phone and play.
What's the problem? Don't you have phones?
Don't you have a television? Why would I ever want to play on my phone?
If you go places. But you're not losing your progress, and you can just grab that and you go.
So I'm just gonna carry a fucking Xbox controller in my ass pocket?
Why not?
That's just stupid and inconvenient. You still need the controller. Who's doing that? Nobody.
I've done it.
You're such a fucking jackass.
I did it when I went to someone's house. We were trying it out.
Now you're just playing devil's advocate.
No, but it's one of those things where it's an option they have that the others don't.
Because it's a pointless option.
No, it's not.
It is.
Dude, that's like saying pulling your Switch and taking it in handheld mode is pointless.
But
it's Microsoft doing the same thing.
The controllers are on the system itself.
Yes.
Or they're not, if you have the Pro controller.
You don't need it.
But you have the controller.
You got the controllers on the Switch.
If you already have the Xbox and you have a phone, you already have the controller. So it's the same fucking thing.
But guess what? When I'm out of my house
I'm not taking
my controller with.
It's not like you're gonna go to the park and fucking doing it. But
that's what you're saying.
But if you're gonna go to your parents' house, you could literally just boop and you're playing a game there, the same as you would with the Switch. It is not fucking different.
But at least the Switch has the controller built in.
It's not any different.
It is different.
No, it's not.
It is different.
It's not.
2 out of 3. You're wrong.
You're not gonna.
2 out of 3.
You're not gonna sell me on that one. That one's different.
It is not different.
It's a cool idea. All right, I'll give it to you on that. But I'm sorry,
No.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it is.
It's definitely not even close to this. It's their attempt to beat the Switch at their own game.
No, they're not trying
which
to
they will lose.
They're not trying to beat the Switch. They're doing it for a different market. The Switch market. They're trying to overtake the Switch. Portability. Well, no, portability, yes, but
that's
not
what
to
it is.
Not to the same market the Switch is going for, though.
But that's what the portability of the Switch is for, is that portable market. I can take my games from the house and play anywhere.
Casual gaming.
Yeah, what would be the point of them streaming it to a fucking phone other than portability?
Well, yeah, portability, but the Switch portability market is very different from Microsoft's market for doing it.
Well, yeah, of course. But that's what the idea of behind it is for, is portability. Streaming. You can do it anywhere. PlayStation said, fuck it. I'll let you guys fight amongst yourselves.
Sony doesn't have the funds or the tech to do it.
To be fair, Sony kind of did do it. With,
the Vita and stuff. But
the Vita kind of, that's remote play.
But that's their own the remote play, you had to be within a certain, thing of it. You couldn't just go anywhere and do it.
The Xbox, I'm assuming, can do anywhere.
Anywhere, as long as you can connect to your network,
connect to a network.
Well, because your wireless network will do it.
Oh, gotcha.
God, you can do it. I can't imagine the data stream that fucker takes.
Oh, actually, we used a program that monitors it. It's not very much. There is almost imperceptible, no perceptible lag for controller input and stuff like that.
The data stream is not that big.
No,
it doesn't consume a lot of data.
No, which was shocking as hell.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Considering if I turn on my phone to be a hotspot, that's a data drain.
Oh, yeah.
So I find it hard to believe. Because one time when our power went out, I used my phone as a hotspot to get internet on my laptop.
Yeah.
Believe me, it ate the shit out of it. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, we were shocked that it doesn't.
Huh.
When the thing that shocked me the most was the no lag on input. Really,
that's kind of interesting. Yeah,
because we tested it with our phones and my Shield tablet.
Yeah,
and it works with all of them.
I mean, the Switch beats it out because it doesn't need an internet connection.
No, it doesn't.
Well, yeah, but it's also
it's an interesting concept. I'll definitely give it to it, but still, it's another one of those things
Switch wins.
Wait.
What's the point? I don't see the point. Why would you want to play on a screen that's 6 inches? Why?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pointless feature that really nobody needs.
Yeah.
Unless you're maybe it's not so much here. I could see Japan, where you're always on the go, always on the move. You're on the fucking train on the way home. All right, let's play some Xbox on my fucking phone. Cool. I can see that being a practical application, but here, I don't see that really being a need.
You play games like that on on a television. You play them at home. You don't play them on the go.
No.
None of their games were meant to be played on the go.
I suppose not. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, though.
Or you could always get a phone like this.
Which one's this? That's not a phone at that point. That's
Well,
not
actually,
a phone. That's a fucking tablet for your pocket.
Actually, the phone's the top part. The bottom part's a clamshell that connects to the phone.
It's an attachment. That's not a phone anymore.
God, that's a fucking 3DS.
The screen is literally your entire 3DS.
Or you can do that.
That thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, they have some actual, and it's a battery pack too. So it's
God. That's insane.
That is not a general consumer item.
No, it's not.
I'll tell you that right now.
It definitely is
That
not.
is a niche market.
Yeah, it definitely isn't.
Yeah. But anyway, looter shooters, love the genre, circle back. That's all I got.
Yeah.
We kind of went off on a weird tangent longer than we should have. Let us know what you guys think. Are you guys into the looter shooter genre? Are there any that maybe we didn't touch on that you can think of?
That's what I was going to say is, let us know what your favorite is. And obviously there are probably a bunch that we did not say that we couldn't think of. So if there are any that we missed, let us know. Comment on this.
If you hate it, let us know why you hate it.
If you hate us, let us know why.
Absolutely.
Just let Paul know he's wrong about wheezing.
We'll not do a Pokemon tangent. We were doing so well.
I just had to. That's where he's going to end. Just right there. It's just going to cut off.
So
stupid.
You're stupid. So hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. Takes you directly to the channel. You can watch our entire mainline videos on YouTube where we are tackling the NES collection.
And you can watch all of our other videos where we play things that are not the NES, and those are on SideQuest.
That's right. The PTG Powercast is on iTunes or Stitcher. And I also post these on the YouTubes. So you can find us there if you'd rather listen to us there on the go. Streaming to your device from the nets.
Because who does that?
Who does that? And guess what? You don't need a controller for us because we're playing the games for you.
That's right.
Yeah, but unfortunately I have to look at their ugly mugs. So.
Yeah, you do. On some of them anyway. Watch the side quests. I don't put our faces up.
Yeah, no, we don't dare show our face.
So that's it for this episode of the PTG Powercast.
You've been listening with Power.